So hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here by myself. Donovan was supposed to join me, but y'all know he's in the DR, so he's could be anywhere, which is funny because I talked to him all day long and uh, he hasn't responded. So whatever he's doing, I hope he's enjoying himself. But I'm sure once he gets back in, he will join us. So anyway, I also like to say a big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Not only are you viewers, but you are participants and your family, right? Sometimes we share the link so that you can come up and voice your opinion. All I ask is that if I've not seen you on here before, that you show me your face so that I can make sure that it's no shenanigans or anything like that. Also, ask that you keep your commentary brief. And if you come on, only if you have something pertinent to add to the conversation. Don't just be coming up here talking, right? So anyway, also like to say the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are great people, but we can always strive to do better. So actually, this topic came to me from a viewer asked me if we could talk about it. And I said, okay. And it's funny because I had just saw what happened with Charleston White, and then I'll get into all that in just a few. And so specifically, she wants me to ask you all a question, and maybe we can ponder that and see if we can come down to a reason or a solution. And so I'll just get into that for a second, get everybody else a chance to come on here. Hello, Iron Will. How are you? Shanika, what's going on with you? Troy, how you doing? And Tisha, how are you doing this fine evening? So just to kind of fill some time before people come on here, I get up very early on Sundays because I work. I just take Sunday to work. I don't really have anything else to do. So I'll get out there. I'll not get out there, but I'll stay home and work, do all my videos and anything else that I have to do. And so Sunday kind of is a long day for me. As y'all can hear, my voice is like, ah. So hopefully it'll hold up toward the end. We usually are here 2 hours. Today I also want to talk about that of Sheila Jackson Lee. You guys know that she was in a mayoral race, a runoff actually, with that of Senator John Whitmire. And she lost, right? She was trying to be the next mayor of Houston. And let's just say it didn't really pan out that well for her. In fact, it was a blowout. She got, left in the dust per se. Nayaka, how are you doing? Says, oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And James, how are you doing? And Jeffrey, oh yeah. All right, so let's get into it. You say he talk a lot of ish talking about Charleston White. Okay. Unless you lived under a rock, maybe you don't know who Charleston White is. Okay, so he's some sort of what we know him to be, right? Some internet provocateur, if you will. He's gotten into a whole host of internet beefs with anybody you can think of, from even Tiny and T.I.'s son, King, right? They've gotten into it, Soulja Boy, and just a bunch of people. And that should also be said that Charleston speaks his mind, right? He says kind of any and everything that he wants. Now, you guys might remember a couple of weeks ago, he went on Cam Newton's podcast. It's one of Cam's most highly watched videos. And he interviewed Charleston White for about 3 hours. I watched the whole thing. It was really interesting. He had a lot of good things to say. Some things that kind of make you raise your eyebrow, like, oh, really? But one thing that he said that was really profound is that you guys weren't paying attention to me when I was, doing what I regularly do. He says, because on the internet, I'm this person that gets on everybody's nerves and says all these things. But he says in real life, and I'm an activist. I have an organization to where we help the youth. It's called HYPE, and it's some acronym. Let me see what it is, just so we can give it a proper context. So the name of his group is, so Helping Young People Excel. And so it basically is dedicated to educating teens and helping them steer away from crime and all that, because you guys know he talked about that. He talks about it a lot, but more specifically in detail that he went to prison at the age of 14 for participating in a murder. And so he says that's his life mission, kind of to steer teens, young people from that type of life. And he does a whole lot of things. He's gone to Congress, the White House. He's, city council meetings. He's really out there voicing his opinion. But most of us didn't know that, right? Most of us never knew that about Charleston. And so he says, but to his point, but when I get on here acting a fool, and going at it with different people and saying different things, then y'all pay attention to me. He says, in fact, you guys, have made me wealthy. I become wealthy behind being on the internet, and he gets paid a lot of money. It sounds like maybe $10,000 per interview that he does. And I looked up his net wealth. He's worth about $2 million. So, that's a nice size of money to just be on the internet getting on people's nerves, right? So anyway, last night he was in Crockett, Texas, okay? And he was doing some Christmas comedy show or something, because he also said on Cam Newton's show, he didn't realize that he was actually a comedian, because, people think that he's funny. So he said it was kind of a hidden talent. So I guess maybe that's what he was doing there in Crockett, Texas, doing a comedy stint. And there was a crowd full of people. So this particular part of his comedy, his stand-up show, he was talking about the 2020 NBA playoffs, where, they were in a bubble. And I think it was the Lakers in Miami. They were going against each other. So he was asking basically how valid is that particular playoff since it was in the bubbles during the pandemic and all of that. And I guess two Laker fans, and they had on Laker jerseys in the audience, were heckling him for what people are saying. They were heckling him. And then Charleston White, he rose to the challenge, and, he basically said, are they lovers? But it turns out, I guess they were uncle and nephew or something like that. So he went on and on about them being lovers. And then one of the guys got mad, I guess, got up. I'm not going to show y'all the video because y'all know I get in trouble, but I'm sure y'all have seen it. But I'm just describing it to you. So one of the guys got up, and then Charleston took a flower vase, if you will, and, pretty much attempted to bust him in the head. I don't know if it actually connected, but that's what it looked like. And then Charleston took his microphone and hit him in the head with the microphone. And then, of course, a lot of people started to bum rush the stage, and Charleston attempted to pick up a chair, I guess, to defend himself or hit somebody, and then he got tackled. And so a lot of people are basically saying, that's what he gets, because he's always messing with people, this, that, and the other. Then Charleston White went on to his social media. Sounds like he went live shortly after, had a bunch of money to his face, talking about, I got paid. They paid me, and this, that, and the other. I still got paid. They didn't really hurt me. But he said the guy had a pretty good tackle. He's probably good at football, whatever. But he continued to taunt people. And so the question that came to me is, Charleston White can be a little jerk. Let's keep it a buck. But a lot of the things that he's saying is valid. For example, like he says, when I'm wearing the bow tie, people don't pay attention to me. But when I'm up here acting a donkey, then I get all this internet play and this, that, and the other. Of course, he has a lot of admonishment for the Black community, from everybody in the Black community, right? Men, women, you name it. He says he don't really too much like anybody. He is advocating on behalf of the children because they don't have anybody. And so the questions that came to me is this, and I want y'all to ponder this. Since Charleston White does say things that are true, I think he says a lot of things that are true. The question is, can we truly hold ourselves accountable? Case in point, Charleston White, not just Charleston White, there's a lot of people, and I'm going to get to you guys' comments. There's a lot of people from Marcus Garvey, not putting, Charleston White in that class per se. You have Marcus Garvey, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Farrakhan, and Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and everybody else you can think of, right, who's tried to say, hey, let's hold ourselves accountable. Let's do our own community policing type of thing. But for whatever reason, we just are not grasping on to that idea. So the question is, can we truly hold ourselves accountable? And if we did try to really start policing ourselves, would we listen? And why aren't we listening? Why can't we hold each other accountable? And I don't know, is Charleston White the right guy to try to hold us accountable? But just think about in general, why can't we do that? Why can't we just say, you know what? I don't necessarily like you, but what you're saying makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? So let's have that conversation. I'm going to get to you guys' comments right now. Y'all let me know If my microphone is acting up because I don't have anybody here to say, hey, your mic is jacked up, it looks good right now. So anyway, let's see who else came on here. Miss Johnson Corliss, how are you doing today? Says, hey sis, good. Turner is gone. Yeah, well, Turner, he was his what do you call it, mayoralship, if you will, was up. He can only run 2 terms, and he did. So he could not be reelected. I'm sure he would probably run again if he could. So they needed a changing of the guard. And Sheila Jackson Lee, who was already in Congress, right? She wanted to come and be the president of Houston, because that's technically what the mayor is. But the people rejected her a lot, and we'll get into that. New Orleans JV, how you doing? Says Miss D, thank you for all the info. Well, it is my pleasure. And I learned from y'all as well. So thank you so much. And Brian, how are you doing? Yanni, what's going on with you? Uno, number 1, how you doing? Yeah, I'm rocking the afro. Y'all ain't going to see it too much. It was actually a little bit bigger. My daughter's like, you can't pat it down. I was like, yeah, I better pat it down. So, yeah, but thank you. Let's see here. And Detroit, man, how you doing? Says Charleston White is and has been a clown. He's willing to do and say anything to be relevant on social media. Yeah, and hopefully you heard me, explain kind of why he says he does that. Because he says people pay attention to him that way. They don't pay attention when he's serious per se. Lisa, how are you? Thank you so much. And Facts Not Feelings, how are you doing today? And King JX, what's going on with you? Iron Will, if I didn't already, how you doing? He says, I'll make it for some. I'm sorry. It'll make for some good stand-up material. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, as you guys know, the internet has gone wild with Charleston White, getting jumped per se. Some people said it was 7 people that jumped him. Now, Charleston White can't weigh no more than $125. So it's like, why all y'all jumping this little bitty teeny man? Hopefully he don't hear me call him teeny, because he might have some words for me, but he's a small guy, Latrice, how are you doing today? Asada, a long time no see. I hope you're doing well. Brother Dom, my moderator, how are you? Yeah, Donovan out there, he tricking. He out there in Sasua tricking off. But I'm sure he's having fun. Detroit man says, remember Charleston White was going viral for disrespecting Black people. Yeah, he's made it no secret. He's like, I don't really like Black people that much either. He says, Black people aren't my people. He says, I'm looking for my kind. So he kind of described that on the Cam Newton podcast. He says, my kind is the people who are doing the things that I'm doing, trying to help the youth really out there in the community. But he says, everybody, just because you Black, that don't mean you're my kind. Now I was like, wow. And I heard that, let that sink in, right? James, you say, thank you so much. It's real. It's real. See, it's coming out my scalp. It's real. What's funny? I hear that a lot. Is it yours? I guess. Even if I paid for it, right? I got the receipt. No, but it's mine. Thank you, though. And let's see here. Travis says his delivery is rough, but I agree with Charleston 90% of the time. And I'm with you. About 90% of the time, I agree with it. Yeah, the delivery is brutal sometimes. The average logical thinker, how you doing? Hope you're well. And Black Rain 303, what's going on with you? Say Christ. Okay. Carla says, so is the music this generation listen to? Yeah, and Charleston made that point. He says the music that is being listened to, nobody is as mad at that as they are at me. Y'all more mad at me because the way I say stuff, but the stuff that this generation is listening to, and he always likes to talk about Sexy Red. That was kind of another, I don't know if it was an internet beef per se, but he says the stuff that she's putting out, and she's just getting the rock and roll, but I say something, then all hell breaks loose. So I think he pretty much a lot talks about the hypocrisy, especially from our community, the things that we get mad over, the hill that we want to die on. And it's like, well, there's other things that are more important than the stuff that I say. And William, how you doing? He says, I think he's a government agent. I mean, he might be, but you know what? One thing about Charleston, he doesn't make it a secret. He says, I call the police on you. He says, I snitch on you. So he's not really hiding that. He's like, if you're out here harming the community or whatever, I'm going to tell on you. I don't believe in that no snitching or whatever. He says, I'm going to tell on you. So and maybe he's kind of saying, yeah, I'm whatever. Freddie, how you doing? He says, Charleston definitely didn't run. No, he didn't. He picked up everything he could think of. Angela, how you doing? Brother Sammy, what's going on with you? Thank you so much. And Ricky, how you doing? It says Jesus Alpha Bartholomew, little puppet Price is right. Christ. Look at, oh, thank you. Appreciate you. Jay Bubba, how you doing? Says Roland had a fit that Sheila Jackson Lee lost. Did he really? I'd love to see that. I would love to see him have a fit. Like, why are you having a fit that she lost? She doesn't do anything for Black people on a wholesale level. She doesn't. So why are you mad that she lost? And of course, I'm going to get into that because I have my theories. I actually did a video for the African Diaspora News Channel. It's not out yet, but I'll give y'all my theory on why she lost in just a second, or a couple of minutes rather. Let's see here. James says, where's that Donovan? I don't know. Hopefully he'll show up, but he's in Sosua. So for those of y'all who've been to Dominican Republic and Sosua, especially you men, y'all probably could guess what Donovan's doing. I don't know. He might be surfing somewhere. Tisha, you say Charleston White has been called every name in the book, but is he lying about the things that plagues our communities? Exactly. Is he lying? And I don't think we deal with that much as far as, or is he lying? Is he telling the truth? And not even just Charleston, but just people that tend to be a little bit provocative. We get mad at the message and the person, but do we actually stop and say, is he right? You know what I mean? And Lisa says, all skin folk ain't kin folk. That's what I hear. Calvin, how you doing? And Gregory X, what's going on with you? And say, if Lee makes the filing deadline, I anticipate a loss in her quest for re-election. Black first something, Sheila isn't. Yeah, so I guess she's still a congresswoman and she still has to be re-elected in that position. That might be very telling for her that she did not win, the mayoralship here in Houston. And Brother Salmon says, I recently saw Princella Houston and Charleston White doing a session together. Okay, I know they're kind of both provocateurs, if you will, somewhat in the manosphere, I guess. And Tisha says, shooting the messenger, but not mad at what's going on. It's easier to call names, but what's the solution? Right. But see, that's the other thing, especially about this internet. It is for most of it, I would say. A lot of the information, the content that's put on there on the internet is for likes, clicks, and views. Because let's be honest, a lot of people make a lot of money. I ain't one of them, okay? A lot of money from the internet, right? So they tend to put up things that are salacious. That's going to get people talking and clicking and things like that. And so, we don't like, I don't say we understand in general, people don't really like Charleston White, but I said it's easy to call him names other than to just dissect what he's saying and said, okay, and I'm sorry if I'm freezing up a little bit, but it'll y'all can hear me. Instead of really just dissecting what he's saying, we get mad and call him names, and he says that, like, y'all more mad at me than you are the real problems in our society. And trust me, Charleston White is not the real problem. But you know what I kind of fear for Charleston White? Unfortunately, I'm not speaking this on him. I fear that somebody, and it's probably somebody that look like, well, honestly, he's offended a lot of people. I know that some of the Asians are mad at him, other people. But I fear that it'll be somebody that look like us that'll really try to, exact some harm on him simply because he may be annoying and they don't like what he's saying. And it's like, well, if you think about it, even thinking about last night when he was jumped per se, was it worth to jump him over his opinion? I mean, you go to a comedy show, you pay, and listen, we've all been to comedy shows, right? And they do tend to heckle people, especially if you sit in the front row, which is why I don't be liking to sit in the front row, because sometimes they like to zone in on something about you, and then they just go ham, right? So I don't really like to sit there just because of that. So it's not unusual for people to go to a comedy show and they sit in the front row and get talked about or whatever, but it sounds like they were heckling him and it kind of didn't go in their favor, because anybody who follows Charleston White, he ain't no punk. He ain't gonna sit up there and be like, oh, bet you by golly, wow, why are you talking about me? He's gonna call you everything but a child of God, and probably talk about your mama too. And so to get in your feelings, you pay money to get in your feelings when you could have just shut your mouth. You know what I mean? You didn't have to go and open your mouth. You like, the man is up there performing, and what, you're gonna steal the show by being a jerk? And so when he gave you what you didn't think you wanted, now you're in your feelings. That's another reason why we need to practice some emotional intelligence, like control your emotions. I don't know. All right, so let's see here. Ray, how you doing? It says facts over feelings. It says, oh, your afro is all throwing, beautiful. Also, Charleston White. Many times it's the message over the messenger. And thank you so much for that. Yeah, I'm in public relations, you guys. Y'all know I have background in PR, and I agree the delivery is very important. Most of the time, I would say we have to find ways of saying things so that people can inculcate what you're saying. But then there's sometimes where you just kind of going for it, and you say the way you say it is not optimal, but it's like what is being said. For example, and I guess you could kind of look at, us as maybe that child that's getting ready to touch the stove, although I think we kind of have touched the stove. So you see your child that's going to touch a stove, do you say, hey, sugar, honey, love, don't touch that stove. It's going to hurt. I would prefer you're going to say, hey, don't touch that stove. Now that delivery is probably startling, right? But you want to get the message across because it's an emergency. So Black people, we kind of in that emergency, getting ready to, if not already, have our hand on the eye of the stove that's very hot. So sometimes the delivery ain't going to be very sweet and loving, and all that is going to be abrupt. Teacher said it was time for Miss Jackson to go. Yeah. I mean, Whitmire, Senator Whitmire, I think he's maybe older than Sheila. For whatever reason, anywhere wants to elect anybody young. But for being in Houston myself, I'm excited to see a changing of the guard, because I am, within different parts of Houston, especially like the 3rd and the 5th wards. And oh my God, it'll tear your car up. The potholes, they're horrible. And God forbid that you're driving at night and you don't see them, because a lot of those areas too, they don't have good lighting. You're driving there and you could just just tear your whole front end off. And it's like, you go to some of those areas, and not saying that that's directly Sheila's fault because she's in Congress, right? It would really be more like the mayor and the city council. But a lot of those places are just left behind. And if you think about Sheila on a larger level, what has she really done for Black people as a collective? Nothing, right? So what is she going to come to Houston and do as a mayor? Probably more of that. Nothing. So, Senator John Whitmire says that he's going to fix all that stuff, this, that, and the other. It remains to be seen, right? Let's hold him to his word. If he don't, then if he don't, next. So anyway, Justice, how you doing? It says, I love your hair. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. You said, and the styles. Your average logical thinker, how you doing? It says, Charleston hasn't said anything we haven't already heard. Our parents and aunties and them fuss about. Did he care about Blacks when he threatened to little Black girls? He won't get my respect. So I did hear the commentary about the, taking of, so I'm trying not to say the word, but you know what I mean? Something from girls. I don't know. Was it little girls or was it women? I don't know, because I don't follow Charleston like that. Did he actually say it was little Black girls or was it women? I want to be clear, because I don't want to, say something that he did not say. But if he did say it, then yeah, it deserves a conversation as well. Mike, how are you doing? Brother Samuel says, the times I heard him, it seems that he does things controversial just to get viewed, mixing truth with falsehood. Yeah. And he admits it. He admits it. He has said that. That's what I do, because you guys don't pay attention, when I'm doing the stuff that really counts. So I don't think that you should mix truth with falsehood, to get people to pay attention. I think you should tell the truth, because after a while it does just become entertainment. And he says that. He says, I'm entertaining to y'all, but when I'm off of here, I'm actually boots on the ground. And he said, by the way, y'all made me rich. Enlighten, how you doing? Thank you so much. I love and appreciate you for that. Thank you, Mike. And Latrice, you say true. And Tisha, you say precisely when the gentleman stood up and approached the stage, it escalated from there. It's like, yeah, nobody wants to have a conversation about staying in your seat. Stay in your seat. Stop that. Why are you up there heckling people who, I meant to put a picture up so y'all can get a glimpse of what it was that was going on. I kind of did the best I can, but as you can see there, Charleston is in the red, and then, he's going after the person who's going after him. Is quite a few people. Actually, you see the cameraman there, like, hey, I'm gonna make sure I get a close up of this. But that's a snippet of what went on there at Crockett, Texas last night during a Christmas comedy show or something. But anyway, okay, so let's see. Jason, how you doing? You say plenty of Will Smiths getting in the crowd these days who are easily offended and ready to jump on stage if someone is said they don't agree with. Yeah, just sit there. You know, he has a right to talk about the Lakers and him thinking is not valid the 2020 season. That's his right to do that. He's there to be funny or not funny. If you didn't like think it was funny, but to be, bumping your gums from the front row, I mean, you kind of had that one coming. And Samuel, how you doing? He says, Queen, Brother Philip, I spoke on this. Don't people want to hear the positive clown behavior, foolishness, dirty laundry sells? Yeah. And I think Charleston White has just found a way to really tap into the vein of that. And he says, it's made me rich. You know, he's found a way to tap into the vein of, well, y'all don't want the truth or, the information. So I'll give y'all the clown stuff, the entertainment. And Tisha, he says, I don't know why people follow folks they don't like. It's weird to me. It's weird to me as well. I think people do it because they cannot stand to tear themselves away, right? I gotta see what's going on. Gotta see what they're doing. And then when they see something they don't like, then they go and talk about it. And it just do the most. But I'm like, it's like if you don't like the person, because I don't follow people all the time, okay? Because I'm not with it. I like to laugh, but I'm not with a whole bunch of foolishness and the dudes on the internet twerking and wearing wigs and the women, doing the most. I don't follow all that stuff because that's not where my mindset is. But yeah, if you don't like it, just unfollow it, Hey, Terrence, how are you doing? I'm going to call you. Terrence is my lawn guy. Very, very, very good. I suggest that you guys, hit him up. I know he's very busy, so he may not be taking new clients, but if he is, I am always proud to say that I have a Black lawn care specialist because, it's not often that we see that, but Terrence is the man when it comes to landscaping. I mean, it's like the best landscaping I've ever had. So Terrence, I won't put him up, but if he wants to put his information in the comment section, I'll let him do that. And then I'll put him up here. But you say people need to grow up. And I totally agree with you. And your average logical thinker says, Charles White been on the scene for a few years now. Has anything changed for our community? His gimmicks are for money and not change, but ninjas like to be entertained. I'm not surprised he's still around. Yeah, he has done stuff for the community and he's talked about it quite a bit. He has an organization called Hype, helping youth. What is it? Helping young people excel. So that's his organization. It's been around for quite a while. And he does actually help young people. And he said their parents and stuff in the Dallas community. That's where he is from. So he actually does do things for the community. He said he's giving away money, food, you name it. He has done it. He's gone all over. He says the United States implementing programs to help the youth. In fact, when he was with Cam Newton, that's what he was in Atlanta doing, sitting down with people out there to help the youth. So he actually is one of those people that is not just on the internet entertaining. He's actually does have boots to the ground. And if you go on the internet, you can find a lot of stuff of him at city council meetings, the city hall, giving them the business and, all that stuff. So he's not one of those guys that's just kind of on the internet. He's actually is doing it. But again, he has said when I was out there doing that and not on the internet, he says, I went viral and the rest is history. He says, y'all pay attention to me then. But he says, when I'm in the bow tie, y'all don't pay attention to me. So yeah, Charleston White actually does do the work. Hello, Easy. How are you doing? World famous. I'm world famous. Am I? Maybe just neighborhood famous. But anyway, I hope you're having a great day. And David, Joseph, how are you doing? You say, and basketball, shoot Ninja Jackson. He said, wasn't the one who jumped him either. It looks like those Crockett, Texas brothers got fed up to me. The video was wild. You just never know with Charleston folk. Yeah, ain't no telling. There's so much going on there. But needless to say, if you're going to a comedy show, just sit in your seat. Why you need to get up and be doing the most? Just be quiet. And then, I don't know, maybe they went there on purpose to start some mess with him. Who knows, right? But yeah, it's crazy. It's like, grow up. And Calvin, you say Charleston White just tells it like it is. Plus, he's trying to help these kids in the community. Plus, some of us don't want to hear the honest truth about what's going on with our people. Yeah, we do a lot of times turn a blind eye to the things that's going on in our community all the time, right? But somebody like Charleston White, who is, he's a little bit annoying. Let's keep it real. He is, entertaining. But within that entertainment, he is telling the truth a lot of times. a lot. And our son, how you doing? Says, I strongly believe Black people have a deep problem focusing on what really matters. We need to know what to take and what to leave. Charleston mostly makes accurate statements. Let's reflect a bit. I agree with that. Facts Not Feeling says, if there are potholes, is the politician's fault. They are in office to fix the problem. Yeah, so I'm saying because Sheila's kind of on a national level, not really there, boots on the ground, like in the city, like the mayor would be. That it is, but it's not, right? She goes to Washington and supposedly gets funding so she can funnel it down to her city. But that's the direct job of the mayor and the city council person for that district. They know what's going on, you know, and when I go in those areas, I'm like, do these people even come over here? How could you? Because I think you would hit a pothole once and be pissed off, you know, and like, you know what, we need to fix this. But I don't even think they go over there. It's just so much. It's like things are so destitute over in those areas. And it's just so left behind. And yet, you know, one thing you will see, other than a bunch of churches in those neighborhoods, you'll see a whole bunch of political signs. Vote for this person, vote for that person. But it's like, then once the election is over, you ain't never gonna hear from those people again. So I agree, it is their job to fix the potholes, but Sheila Jackson Lee, on a larger level, what was she really doing for Black people as a whole? Not much, right? But then she wants to go be the mayor and do more of that. It doesn't make sense. Jamarcus, if I didn't already, how you doing? He says, Jackson, she was trying to get her pockets fat like Turner did. Yeah, because, you know, especially there, being a mayor or a city council person, there's a lot of people who are like, hey, I got this white envelope for you. You know, you funnel it through your nonprofit and you do what you want with the money, but I need this area over here to do A, B, C, and D, or this program to go for us. So yeah, there's a lot of greasing of the pockets going on at that level. You're absolutely right. Black Rain says Black people have to represent just agents. So I don't know if your comment is kind of off. Brother Norris, how you doing? Thank you so much. I love and appreciate you for that. Enlightened says, I did let Marcel know what you was interested in joining his campaign as a PR person. I told him to hit you up. All right now. Yeah, I would love to. I got a lot of great pointers for him. I think that it would help because in that situation, delivery does matter, you know. And I'll leave it at that for now. And your astrological thinker says he threatened to do that to one specific YouTuber's daughter. They are minors, and CW stated this. Okay, so yeah, if he said that, that's horrible. I personally have not heard that, but I'm taking your word for it. He said that is horrible, abhorrent, and all that other stuff. And he, definitely should not be talking like that. Michael, how you doing? I'm glad that you are tuned in. And Peggy, what's going on with you? He says, how could this Black woman dare talk with Charleston White? He is and said it himself. He said he has no and just took it. She said no and just took it. She must not know. I heard something about that. I also heard, I heard that he said it, but I also heard that he was joking. Even if he was joking, he should not say it. So again, if y'all listen to me, I didn't say that I agree with everything that Charleston White said. I did not say that. So don't come on here trying to put words in my mouth. One thing about Demetri K is I say what I need to say. I don't bite my tongue. I don't have to lie to kick it. None of that other stuff. So I hope that helps. Ricky, you say Charleston White is one of those people that you'll have a love-hate relationship with. Personally, I like to subtract those kind of people from those things that will give me a distaste for them and keep what's relevant and true. But one thing I do like about Charleston is he's bringing out the feminine energy and all these emotional Black men. Y'all ladies need to see that these Black men out here are carrying on like angry, like angry aunties. You don't jump on people like Charleston White and your comment cut off. I want y'all to know that was Brother Ricky who said that, not me. Okay, he said some of the brothers is acting like angry aunties. I did not say that. And Joseph says, "Oh, thank you." Says your afro is tight. I thank you so much for that. Okay, Black Rain, you meant to say no representation. Got you. Facts Not Feeling says Black people are way too serious about sports. Seriously. Yeah, I watch him every once in a while. I haven't watched him in a long time. I don't have the ability really to. I don't have cable or anything like that. And Alphonse, how you doing? He says it wasn't okay for him to throw a plant at someone. I don't know if it wasn't okay, but I know if somebody is coming at me, I'm gonna do whatever I got to do to protect myself. I'm not gonna sit up there and wait for you to just do something to me. You know what Malcolm X say? By any means necessary. He didn't say stand up there and allow people to do stuff to you. No, you want to neutralize a threat. I would think, right? And I know that Texas is a stand your ground state, castle doctrine, and all that. So he's within his rights to protect himself because you don't know what that man's getting up on the stage to do. So the flower pot, I think, was very minor in relation to a whole lot of the things he could have used. No worries, Ricky. No, it wasn't long. And Travis, did I say hello to you, by the way? If not, hello. It says people follow people they hate because they're waiting for them to fail. Yeah, that's true. People follow people they hate because it's like, I know eventually, because for whatever reason, a lot of times we see people on the internet, we think, I don't know, they're perfect. Because some people do try to make you think that they're perfect, right? Oh, I got it all together. I got all this money and all sort of stuff. So yeah, sometimes you'll have people watch and say, oh, I know something's going to come and then they're going to get tricked up and then we're going to be able to highlight their misgivings, if you will. But it's just really silly. And Tisha, you say the cussing pastor. I follow the cussing pastor. He says the cussing pastor is saying the same thing about the behavior in Memphis. So if we're not listening to each other, we're not listening to others, then how do we correct ourselves? Even Gary Monroe, RIP, was frustrated in his final days. Yeah. Got a lot of people whose delivery, like I said, the cussing pastor and the late Gary Wayne Monroe, their delivery was like razor blades and lemon juice, right? But what were they saying? Were they right? Or did we just not like the way they were saying it? In a cussing pastor, yeah, he got Gary beat by a long shot in his delivery, but he's right. The cussing pastor, Thaddeus Matthews is his name. He's in Memphis, Tennessee, and he says, I'm afraid to go outside now. He says, because crime is so bad. He says the criminals have just taken over the city to where he says, I only go outside if I need to. He says normally a tank of gas will last him maybe 5 days or so. He says now it's lasting me over 2 weeks because I really just don't leave the house if I don't have to. And that's sad. It's my pleasure, Terrence. Love you as well. And David, you say anyone knows that you don't sit in the first 2 to 6 rows at a comedy show. Robin Harris taught us all that, folks. People in the first 2 to 6 rows at comedy shows always get heckled. Yeah, I ain't trying to sit there, And Wilbur, how you doing? And Peggy, so he says proof from his own mouth. He is he says women. Okay, so you put up a link. I can't click it on here, but I will check it out. I have heard that, so I don't dispute that. What he says. Again, if he said that, then yeah, he's wrong. And he should not, be saying that. I don't know how true it is. Even if he said it, it's like, come on, man. There's a lot of other things that you could say to get your point across. Other than that, and even too on Cam's show, he even talked about slapping women or beating them or something like that if they don't listen. But he said he was joking. So it's like, okay, man, really? Yeah, how you doing? I hope I said that right. Shalom to you as well. Brother Reggie, what's going on with you? Thank you so much. Honeydew, how are you doing? And Travis says, please remind listeners how they can support the show. Oh, I'll be forgetting. Y'all see at the bottom there, we have a Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. You can also do super chats on YouTube. And I guess on Facebook, you could do stars and all of that. Every little bit helps with the production of the show, as it does cost me something. But anyway, I love and appreciate every last one of y'all. And at the very least, if you can like the page, subscribe if you're not a member on whatever platform you're on. I love and appreciate you. And to everybody who contributes on a regular basis, you are much appreciated. Buckhorse, how you doing? Says DC is here. Shalom, family. Hey, Miss K. Black folks jumped on the stage and Charles jumped his A off. Yeah, he did. And all the truth. How you doing? He says they would never do that to a white guy, and we know it. Yeah, because they know better. To your own, yeah, you do that all day long, right? But to them folks, you might not never even dare think about it. Just sit up there and laugh. The average logical thinker says, I just can't fathom a person wanting change for youth yet advertise sexually assaulting children and women all, but I'll let y'all have it. Yeah, I mean, it's problematic. I'm not saying that it's not. But But the question really is, more so outside of Charleston. See, that's the thing too. I get it. That's something huge. You shouldn't not be saying, but can we hold each other accountable? That's the real question. Can we as Black people hold each other accountable? What does policing each other look like if we can't hold each other accountable? And again, I said this at the beginning, so I don't want y'all to trip my words up. I'm not saying that Charleston White is the beacon of the Black community. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not even saying he's the one to do it. The question came to me is that something that we are even capable of doing? And that came in the same vein in the conversation with Charleston White. So that's all I'm asking. Nobody's advocating about him, assaulting anybody. I'm not advocating for that at all. So again, please do not mistake me. And let's not try to, because this is one thing I hate too. I get that we are, we want to interject the whole story, but let's not hijack the conversation. If he said that, he's a douchebag, okay? If he said it, and I take your word for it that he said it. I'm not saying that it's cool, but let's keep the main thing here. Jeff, how you doing? He says, good evening, Auntie Demetra. Sending you positive vibes and energy from Buenos Aires. Donovan is in the DR. He's in the DR, Sasua, doing what guys do in Sasua. What y'all naming and claiming, I don't know exactly, but I sent him a link, so he'll probably be on when he gets in. I know he's about 2 hours ahead of me. So let's see. It's almost 8 o'clock where he's at. So he'll probably be heading in the house soon. I don't know. But nevertheless, he'll be back, I think, on the show next Sunday for real. He'll be back home. Sooty Van, how you doing? Buckhorse says, stop doing that street crap. If you're going to tell the truth, stop 50-50. The game is real. Okay. And Beach Material, how you doing? He says, kind of blessing to be honest. We didn't get her. So you're talking about Sheila Jackson Lee, and we're going to switch over to that in just a second. Monet, what's going on with you? Yeah, but of course, she lost by a landslide. It wasn't even funny. It's quite embarrassing, actually. David, he says, but on the real, I do hear about Charleston White trying to do his thing in the streets, helping youngsters stay out of trouble. Renz G, how you doing? He says, greetings, DK and family. Demetra, Charleston White has said very disrespectful things like talking about Matt Hoffa's young daughters. Okay, so I don't know who Matt Hoffa is, but again, I take y'all word for it that he said that. That is horrible. See, that's the kind of stuff that I'm trying to be careful when I say this. He should be dealt with on. Not because he's telling jokes at a comedy show. Does it make any sense? Like if the streets want to see about him, see about him for that stuff. But because he told a joke that you don't like, it's corny. But yeah, y'all know what I'm getting at without me really having to say it. That's the kind of stuff you press a person on. Troy, hi. You say my introduction to Charleston White was him saying the NOI was a bunch of killers killing the Black community. Yeah, see, that kind of stuff, very provocative. And does he say stuff just because? But again, the other question is, can we, aside from Charleston, can we hold each other accountable? What does that look like? Because I know a lot of times, especially with Black women, you hear a lot of brothers say, oh, you can't hold Black women accountable. Black women they don't want to be responsible for this, that, and the other. But I tend to think it's us as a whole. It's not just the Black woman. I think it's all of us. We have a hard time with taking correction. Buckhorse says Charles was Georgia. That wasn't playing with him. So you're saying he was in Georgia? I think he actually was in Crockett, Texas. H. McDaniels, how you doing? Says I saw the video. It was the comedian's fault. He was basically calling people a fool because they paid money to see him to everyone and assaulted someone by throwing a flower pot. So that's kind of what happened, but that's not what happened. What happened was he was getting heckled due to something he said about the 2020 NBA finals or semifinals or whatever it was, finals, I guess. And they didn't like it. And so it kind of went downhill from there. So it wasn't quite that way. David, you say, I don't agree with the way Charleston does things and speaks at times, but he can be hilarious with the way he speaks. And I believe he does do work in the streets. I think he works with youngsters. Yeah, that's what he says. Buckhorse says he makes a point, but go too far. Yeah, he goes really too far. And I've always said that. So I'm not even an advocate for Charleston White. As I said, I don't know a whole lot about him, just kind of the stuff that I see. I did watch the Cam Newton thing. And I do know that he says a lot of stuff. But then on the one hand, he says, well, I just say it to get you guys' attention. Although some of the stuff that he says is like, Why say that though? You know what I mean? Dusty Hotep, long time no see. How you doing? He says, I don't see no one putting hands and feet on Cynthia G though. Well, can I be honest with y'all? Nobody should put hands and feet on nobody. Keep your hands and your feet to yourself. As I said though, if people run around saying the stuff that he's been accused of, yeah, I mean that's a good reason to, uh, go up on him and inquire, if you will. That's a good reason. But why can't we just keep our hands and our feet to ourselves? No, we shouldn't be putting our hands on nobody. We grown, right? You're supposed to exercise some emotional intelligence. Trust me, there's times where I be wanting to strangle the heck out of some people. But I picture myself in an orange jumpsuit, and I'm like, orange ain't my color. So I don't do those things. You know what I mean? I say, I better just maybe cuss them out or something. I don't know. Instead of put my hands on, but let's not, because this is the thing. I get it. People say things all the time that we don't like and we don't agree with it. But what about just saying, you know what? I don't have to listen to you. I'm going to unfollow you. I'm going to divorce you up out of my ear holes or whatever the case is. But why get mad to the point to where you want to put your hands on people? That's silly. Sagittarius Goddess, how you doing? Say, shaking my head. And let's see, Big Joe, how you doing? He says, okay. You're going to wipe me up so I can protect you. You won't have to throw a flower pot. Well, I thank you for that. H. McDaniel says, why insult your fans? They didn't rush the stage until he threw the flower. That's not true. So hopefully, and I thank you for that compliment, but that's not true. That's not exactly how it happened. He didn't insult him and they brushed the stage. They actually were heckling him. And then, as most comedians do when they get heckled, they throw some haymakers. And then most people who get heckled back per se by the comedian, they sit there and then they, be quiet. But for this particular reason, and I think maybe it had something to do with something else, the people, they thought they was going to, jump up on the stage, and then he took the flower pot. So that's kind of how it happened. David says, looking for the perfect human is like trying to look for a unicorn or a mermaid. Good luck with both of those things. Yeah, that is true. I agree with that. And Buckhurst says the flying pastor, Geno Jenkins. Is that what they call him? Okay. And Ricky says, why is everyone talking like they never known a Charleston White before? Uh-oh. He says, come on, y'all stick to a code. Y'all don't jump on people. and put this up here so y'all can see it too. Says, why is everybody talking like they never known a Charleston White before? Come on, y'all stick to a code. Y'all don't jump on people like Charleston White. Y'all listen, support, and take heed to the truth that they are speaking to, and joke about all that bitter behind their back. Charleston Whites are not a new thing. I totally agree with you. We all know a Charleston White to a certain degree. Now, I don't know a Charleston White who be saying all that kind of stuff, but yeah, we know people who are really raw with it, right? Yeah. Ardiva, how you doing? Thank you so much. And let's see here. Buckhorse says, I know what you're saying, Queen. Okay. It says, I love that, Fro. Thank you so much. And David says, Sheila Jackson Lee got beat badly in those polls. Yep, we're going to talk about it in just a few. And Buslock, I hope I said that right. How you doing? It says, one love, Queen, Akron, Ohio. Yeah. And let's see here. Teacher says, yes, no one is answering the question, can we hold each other accountable? That is the question at hand. Can we hold each other accountable? I don't know. I'm waiting. And David says, looking for the it says, looking for the perfect human is being like trying to look for a unicorn, Pegasus, a mermaid. Good luck with those things. Okay, got you. Mildred, how are you doing? Long time no see. I hope all is well. Enlighten says, I hate us being hypocritical. Some of us listen and watch so much filth and don't hold the people accountable under the guise of freedom of speech and expression. Yeah, and that's kind of what he was saying. He says, yeah, I know I say a lot of incendiary things. Y'all mad at me, but y'all not mad where it really counts with the people that are really impressionable, selling the youth a lot of filth and things like that. I think we should be mad at it all, even if he is joking about, what you guys said. He said, even if he's joking about that, it's not something to joke about. You know what I mean? And William, you say, do you agree about what he said about Deion Sanders? Yes and no. I think Deion Sanders, and I've talked about this before, I think Deion Sanders, like anybody, has the right to go and make more money, right? And how he was at Jackson State, and they weren't paying him a lot of money, but, it kind of sounds like he knew that, to Charleston White's point. I think they're trying to pay him about $2 million, give or take or something. But he ended up spending a lot of money out of his pocket paying his own staff. Of course, y'all know in Jackson, the water situation is not good at all. I know at one point in time, he was taking a bath in the pool at the school. Just a whole host of issues. Then he got an offer from Colorado State University, I think it is. And they offered him $25 million over a time span. So, yeah, he went. He took, the top talent with him to Colorado and left a void at the HBCU. If I didn't say that, Jackson State is HBCU. And a lot of people felt a certain type of way, felt like he was neglecting Black students at HBCU. And that was Charleston White's point, saying that a lot of those Black students went to Jackson State, went there because Deion Sanders, of course, y'all know who he is, Hall of Famer and all of that, NFL player. A lot of those players went there because of him. And Charleston also said a lot of those players looked up to him as a father figure. He says it's a known fact that there's a lot of single parent homes led by mothers, and a lot of those boys come from those homes. And so when they get around somebody who is dynamic as Deion, they look up to him, and then he just up and leaves. So some people saying for more money. I tend to think that Deion wasn't being appreciated. But on the other hand, it does suck to see that he went over there. He took all the, the rah-rah with him over there and the money and things like that. And he's helping them being, the white school, get more money while the HBCUs are struggling. But then the other side of that is the HBCU fault, because they said that, I don't know, the average donation between all the alumni is not that much at all. I want to say it's around $1, $2 or something on average. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things going in there, but I can see what Charleston is saying about the kids being disappointed. He's basically saying that Deion should have looked at it from a standpoint of other than just money, but looking at it as, well, what am I going to do if to these boys if I up and leave, right? How will that affect them? So I'm on both sides of the fence because I understand both viewpoints, if that makes any sense. Okay, so let's see here. Arneva says, I wonder when he was going to get it. He told lies on Ben X and the NOI. All of our people who are in the public that disrespect the NOI gets dealt with. Brother Polite was the last one to get dealt with. Yeah, that I know for sure. What was the other cat? Oh, gosh. It wasn't Nature Boy. It was somebody else along those lines. I don't even see this guy anymore around. He had went to some other country for a while. He had a bunch of wives, and he kind of had like this cult following, and he said something real greasy about the minister. And boy, he got up on that thing, the internet, and said, listen, I'm sorry. Y'all need to back up off me. Can y'all leave me alone now? And that y'all he was talking about was the mighty FOI. Like, they don't play about the minister. He ain't said a peep else. I can't remember his name, but it's been years since I've even seen the guy around. So is he still with us? But no, absolutely, yeah. Charleston White says a lot of things that are incendiary, and it's like, is he serious? Is he doing it for clicks and views? And again, like I said, I'm not an advocate for Charleston White for sake of discussion in regards to can we be held accountable. That's why we are talking about it. Yeah, Brother Polite. He's locked away somewhere right now, isn't he? And Brother Perry, how you doing? I appreciate you for that. I saw where you said you ordered Victoria Monet's vinyl and you ended up with Barbra Streisand instead. Perry's a DJ. Victoria Monet is one of my favorite artists right now, and believe it or not, I like Barbra Streisand as well. So I was like, oh, he doesn't like Barbra Streisand, but I like Barbra Streisand. Her voice is almost unmatched if you ever listen to her. But anyway, Black Rain, thank you so much. And you also say Daniel 7:9, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the ancient of days did sit with those. I mean, sit whose garment was as white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. Okay, so you're talking about me. Let's see. And Buckhorse says, I'm cooking chicken and fish and greens dinner. He says, time, y'all. Yum, yum, yum. Well, save me a plate. Uncle G, how you doing? Says Charleston. Is just your average shade tree mechanic with a mic and a camera. Yeah, and unfortunately, He's been made very rich. And he said that. He says, y'all made me rich. When I wasn't saying crazy stuff, y'all wasn't paying attention. But that I say crazy stuff, everybody's talking about it, including us, you know. I don't know where Black America is. He's missing in action. I don't know. Enlightened, he said, if someone enters into my protective space, I'm going to defend myself with a quickness, even being 66 years old. Yeah, you ain't going to stand there and be like, we'll wait for you to get your hands around my neck before I decide to do something. And Jevy says, Auntie Demetra, if he in the DR, he on lockdown, hope all is well with the family, your daughter and brother Walter. Yes, everything is awesome. No complaints. And Buckhorse, because he says, Miss K, you make Black look excellent. Oh, thank you. Okay, so I think his name was it Nature Boy? Yes, it was Nature Boy. Yeah, and it was somebody else. No, it was somebody else that was talking crazy. It wasn't just Nature Boy. It was I can't think of his name. I can't think of his name. Maybe it was Nature Boy, but I don't think so. It was somebody else that he was doubling down on it too, talking all that smack about the nation and Farrakhan. And boy, I tell you, FOI, oh man, they let him have it. And he got on there and he was like, I'm sorry. Can y'all please, can y'all just back up off me? I mean, he literally was saying that. So I can't think of his name. It'll come to me. But I don't see either one of them, Nature Boy or the other guy I'm thinking about anymore on the internet, because they were kind of like on the first wave of the Black consciousness movement, if you will, the Hotep movement. They were like the first wave, and everybody was following them. I wasn't following them. I heard about them or whatever the case is, but then they kind of just disappeared. So Tisha says HBCUs, you can donate at any time. We have the attention span of a 2-year-old. Yeah, and that's the other problem too. With Dion leaving, they wanted to put it all on him, although he is just one man. But it's like you have all the alumni there, and I don't know if Jackson did what they needed to do to keep him. You have an awesome talent and a coach. Of course, Jackson State, where were they, like 11-1 when Dion got there? So I guess they only lost one game, or however many games they played. So he basically turned their football program around, and they didn't do what they needed to do to keep him. And that's kind of the problem with us as well. Like, we don't appreciate the talent that we have as much. You know what I mean? And then when they leave, then it's like, you round for that. It's like, but did y'all know the man was underpaid and kind of taking a bath in the pool? And I know the water is not necessarily HBCU's alumni's fault, but what did you do to keep him? Especially if he was, paying for stuff out of his pocket, All right, so let's see here. Stacy, how you doing? It says unmatched. So you're talking about Barbra Streisand. Perry says, I like Barbra Streisand, but I don't like her music, but I like Lady Gaga's music. Okay, yeah. Barbra Streisand's been around a long time. I mean, her voice is iconic. It really is. Of course, we had a discussion a couple of days ago about Tina Marie, and Lord knows I'm not trying to go down that aisle because she ain't on here right now, said that Brandy sounds better than Tina Marie. David Lee, how you doing? He said, did he wear a turban? He might have, and I think he definitely had dreads. He might have wore a turban, but I don't think it was Nature Boy. I think it was somebody else. I was like, Pharaoh. Yes. Young Pharaoh. That was his name. Man, y'all organized something awful on him, boy. He was like, all right, enough. Whatever y'all said to him, Brother Ardiba, y'all made a believer out of him. No Limit Cairo, how you doing? It says Mob Tie is not playing. You also say Tommy Sotomayor, Young Pharaoh. Yeah, it was Young Pharaoh that was doing the tap dancing after he got ran up on, kind of, sort of, behind the Nation of Islam. But of course, you say nobody goes against the mighty Farrakhan. You better believe it. And let's see. All right, so we are right at the hour mark. Let's transition, shall we? Y'all want to transition a little bit, and then we can talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. All right. So yesterday, which was Saturday, there was a runoff election here in Houston. Now, I never heard of an election of any kind on a Saturday unless it's like early voting or something like that. But there was a runoff election because Senator John Whitmire and Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, neither one of them crossed the 50% threshold, which is what it takes for Houston to be declared a winner of a political seat, I guess. So that took place in November, and so they needed to have a runoff, which was yesterday, right? Now, even back then, in November, Sheila Jackson Lee, yeah, she didn't do as well either, okay? But again, they needed to cross the 50% mark to be declared the winner. So yesterday was that day. It doesn't sound like a whole lot of people even showed up to the election. I mean, Houston is pretty big. It doesn't even sound like there was maybe 130, maybe 40,000 people voted altogether. I could be wrong, but that's a low number, right? So anyway, when it was all said and done, Senator John Whitmire was, crowned next mayor of Houston. He had about 65% of the vote. And Sheila had, I think it was 34% of the vote. That's a blowout, okay? That's a blowout, especially since, and it sounds like, Senator John Whitmire has been in politics in different places, throughout Houston his whole life as well. But it's a blowout for Sheila Jackson Lee in, a city that's fairly Black. I mean, it's the blackest city I've ever lived in, right? But for whatever reason, Black people really didn't show up. But I have some good reasons in my mind as to why they didn't. Well, for one, as I said, it's a Saturday, okay? Now, most people on a Saturday, they're going to go do what they do on a Saturday. They ain't trying to go to no election polling place to vote. They might want to go out to eat or to the mall or, stay home in their pajamas and do nothing, right? That's typically what people do. So to get people to go out of the house and vote on a Saturday is like, well, and a lot of people already did it. They're like, I already voted. I voted in November. I ain't doing it again, right? So I think that hurt her. And of course, John's people showed up for him. Y'all know who his people are. I think a lot of Black people, more normal, showed up for him as well, and everybody else. And I think the other thing that hurt Sheila is apathy. Apathy hurt her. When people are apathetic, they're like, I don't care. Well, it's whatever. It's a shoulder shrug, right? And I say that because oftentimes we as Black voters, we are very apathetic. It's like, well, damned if we do, damned if we don't. I don't care if I vote or not. It's not that big of a deal. Now we'll get out there on the national election, not really understanding that it's the state and local politics that have the biggest effect on us, right? And so apathy hurt her as well. Now, this is the big one for me. I think one of the other things that really hurt her is benign neglect. Y'all have heard that term within the last couple of years around the internet, benign neglect, but that is not a new term. It's been around since I think about 1970. Dan Patrick Moynihan, he was an advisor for President Richard Nixon, and he did what y'all know as the Moynihan Report, right? It was this study and survey that he's done on the Black community in America, right? In the 60s and 70s. And some of the report basically said that Black people suffer from the things, obviously, that's happened to us since we've been here, racism, discrimination, and a whole host of other things. But he kind of put the ills of the Black community on the shoulders of Black women. He made a comparison between single Black moms and white single moms, right? And basically saying, all the stuff people talk about now, it's the Black woman's fault, and all that, why the Black community runs the way it does. And so one of the suggestions that came out of that report is benign neglect. Okay, he says, and that was a term that he used, benign neglect. He actually wrote that in a New York Times in 1970 edition. I think it was March or something like that. Could be wrong of the date. But anyway, he says the way to deal with the Black community is benign neglect, which means, well, we know there's issues that we should be taking care of, but we're just going to ignore it. We'll ignore it. And the reason why they came up with benign neglect is because of the insurgence of Black groups, like your Black Panthers and all the other Black groups you can think of, and heroes. They didn't want any Black heroes coming out of it. If like the civil rights was going on. And so they was like, we'll just pretend like none of this exists, right? Maybe it'll go away. They wanted to not have as many Malcolm X's and your Martins and, Elijah Muhammad's and your Marcus Garveys and everybody else you can think of. They didn't want any more of that, so they considered it not the benign neglect. We just neglect them. Out of sight, out of mind, and maybe it'll fix itself, or we just don't do anything at all. So a reason why I say I think that hurt Sheila is because she's also been participating in benign neglect. Her and all of her other homies in the Congressional Black Caucus, and most Black politicians, they have glommed on to the talking points of benign neglect. We lie to them and say, hey, when I get in the office, I'm going to make sure you get this, that, and the other, and give you a good old fish fry and some twerking to the polls. You get all that stuff. Get them in office. Once they get in there, the benign neglect happens. Black people, no. We're going to help the immigrants, right? The migrants, they need our help. And everybody else, right? The Congressional Black Caucus, if you go on to their website, the last time I went anyway, they said, basically, in a paraphrasing, helping Black people and other marginalized communities. If you go on the other caucus's website about what they do, they don't say, oh, we helping Asians and other marginalized communities, or we helping Hispanics and everybody. They say themselves and period, full stop. They don't have something to follow with, well, we're going to help everybody else too. Unfortunately, with the Congressional Black Caucus, they have helped everybody else and not Black people. So benign neglect, apathy, and I think just a Saturday, that kind of kicked them behind. In addition to, let's keep it a buck, people aren't feeling Sheila Jackson Lee. She's one of them. Who is that? The Black politicians that use their own people to get ahead. That's who she is. She wasn't going to come to Houston and do anything else for Black people. As Brother Phil said, yeah, she's done things individually for Black people, but as a whole, how many Black Houstonians, and I don't even know if I count because I haven't been here that long, but I have followed Sheila Jackson Lee's career from where I live in California. But how many Black people as a collective can say, yeah, Sheila Jackson Lee is actually, good for Black people? Case in point, if she was, wouldn't they have just showed up for her? Like, nah, hell no, we ain't letting anybody come in and get that seat. We need to make sure Sheila keeps the seat. They didn't do that. They stayed home. They were at the mall. And you got to take into account, too, it's Christmas season. People ain't trying to, they Christmas shopping, Sheila. They Christmas shopping. They're not trying to vote, or whatever the case is. I mean, the voter turnout was low for John as well, but he won. So, yeah. And I think it's a referendum on the Democratic Party. I think we're going to see a lot more of that, because the other thing, at the end of the day, Black people are getting on code. Black people are getting on code and says, no more of this. We voting for you just because you Black. You know what I mean? And the other thing is, this should tell Sheila and anybody else like her, y'all out there champion everybody else's stuff. You're helping the migrants and this, that, and the other, getting the Asian crime bills. Why they didn't show up for you, Sheila? Why they didn't show up for you wholesale? Why you all? Because I spent a lot of time in the car last week and I heard all of these ads. Sheila Jackson Lee, Sheila Jackson Lee, Sheila Jackson Lee. You had Sylvester Turner, he was endorsing her, and all these Black unions, they were endorsing her, and this, that, and the other. And they said, Sheila stood by us, and now we need to stand by her. But they never said exactly what Sheila has done for Black people. Now they are on the urban radio stations trying to trick Black people into going to vote for her. But, the other communities didn't show up for you, Sheila. The communities that you actually help, that should be very telling for the rest of them. Because when you make Black people mad, it's a wrap. Now all you have is to rely on the people that you've wrote all those bills for, you looked out for, and all that other stuff. So I had people ask me, how do I feel about Sheila Jackson Lee not becoming a mayor? I feel good. Not because she lost. I mean, to me, that's really neither here nor there, but because Black people are really just saying enough. Enough of your benign neglect. Enough of you using us. We don't want to eat no more fried fish. It's bad for us anyway, right? We don't want no more fish fries. We don't want you, Sheila. First of all, Sheila, you probably need to be at the VFW. Let's keep it a buck, okay? You probably need to be at the VFW, but you're out at nightclubs in Houston, partying, trying to get votes and I even saw her, no shade or whatever, but I saw her eating a hot Cheeto ball. It's like, now, you got indigestion. You're going to need some milk and magnesium. Don't eat that, Sheila. But you're out there eating hot Cheeto balls for what? To get votes? It's embarrassing. So let's see what y'all got to say about that. All right. And Samuel, how you doing? Thank you so much. Love it. Appreciate you for that. Perry says, also like Tina Marie's music. Yes, me too. Teacher says, once again, we overlook the things we do. Some of those folks showed their appreciation for Dion by stealing personal belongings out of the locker room. So you can't have that conversation either. Because that sounds too much like accountability. You know what I mean? Holding people accountable. Yeah, they ripped him off too. They stole from him. He's there to help. So it's like, and I don't know if it's necessarily people at the school. It sounds like maybe people were passing through or something like that. Somehow they got on campus, but nevertheless, they stole from him. And Buckhorst says, may God bless the mighty nation of Islam. Yes, indeed. I think that's what you're trying to say. And James says, Sister D, you would make a good politician. Would you run for public office? People ask me that all the time, and no. I help people who want to become politicians. I help polish them and, as far as public relations, how to speak and all that other stuff. But I never thought about being a politician because there's a lot of griminess that goes on. A lot of times people like to harm politicians. I ain't trying to be harmed, and I wouldn't get elected anyway because I'm not going to be up in there, doing the stuff that regular politicians do. I really try to help the people. And so that, for one reason, I'm not going to get on there because I'm not going to become a rubber stamp. But I like to talk about politics. And like I said, I like to help politicians when they're running. But as far as, I couldn't see doing it. And Buckhurst, so you're speaking to somebody else. Okay. And Perry says, they don't do anything for Black folks, but other groups. Yeah. So why didn't they show up for Sheila? Why didn't those groups show up for Sheila? They should have showed up for her with open arms. They should have been early in line. Like, how they be early in line for them turkeys in New York? Instead of migrants be lined up early, they should have lined up early for Sheila. We're gonna vote for Sheila. Sheila makes sure that we're okay, and we're gonna make sure that she stays in office or gets in office rather. But they didn't do that. They were probably out Christmas shopping too. They don't care. And Buckhurst says, yes, Dr. Phil said it. Yes, indeed. And Perry says, I'm glad Sheila Jackson Lee lost. Fast Not Feeling says, why didn't they show up for you, Sheila? I mean, I think it's a good question. Why didn't they show up? And then again, y'all said, I didn't see it. Roland Martin is mad because Sheila didn't win, but it's like the days of shaming Black people into voting for more nothing is over. See, that stuff used to work. Oh, you guys are this, you that, blah, 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 blah. But Roland, he's like nails to a chalkboard to me. Because it's like, what's your angle, man? Why are you so vexed with Black people for wanting to exercise y'all say we should exercise our right to vote? So we're exercising our right to vote, but are you really saying that you're mad at us because we're not exercising the right to vote for who you want us to vote for? There's a lot of people who don't want Sheila Jackson Lee to be the mayor, and that's okay. That's their right. But you shamed them. I don't know. I don't follow Roland like that. Have y'all ever heard him call white people stupid and dumb and everything that he calls Black people? Have y'all ever heard him do that to white people? I'm curious. But for us, because we finally getting up off the plantation, or as Donovan say, he's a recovering Democrat, you want to shame Black people, name call and stuff? And for those of y'all who follow Roland, y'all really should be thinking twice about somebody who will call you names because you don't do what he says do. And he won't even answer the question as to, well, why, Roland? Why should I continue voting for more of nothing? What's in it for me to do that? And he'll call you a name because you asked him that. So again, what's Roland's angle for keeping Black people on the plantation as far as voting? What's in it for him? And Buckhurst says Jason Black said it. Okay. And JBWR, how you doing? It says more of our community should be having conversations like this. We should be. Absolutely. And welcome to the chat. Let's see here. Queen of Spades, how you doing? Thank you so much. I appreciate you for that. And Buckhurst says grassroots know better. We not stupid. Yeah. Black people really just starting to organize and say, we've been made a fool of for too long. Now, I'll tell you what is foolish is to continue to vote for more of nothing. They're not hiding it. It's not a secret. Kamala, Joe, Sheila, and the rest of them, they're not making it a secret that they're neglecting Black people. They're not making, they're out in the open with it. They're out in the open. Brother Phil did a show last week where he highlighted all the stuff that's on the DNC's website, and don't none of that talk about Black people. But guess what? When it comes time to vote, they're going to show up at Black churches, all Black events. They're going to be two-stepping in the clubs with us and all that other stuff, but they don't mention nothing about Black people. They talk about everybody else, but yet, we supposed to show up for that? Why? And William, you say, that's a lie. They didn't steal from Deion Sanders, or that's what the word is. Y'all listen. I don't know. I wasn't there. That's what he said that they did. That's what Deion said. And I know that when he was at Colorado, when they traveled to UCLA in Los Angeles, that they got taken for the watches and stuff too, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know, y'all. Perry, you say Sheila needed to keep a bottle of hot sauce in her purse. I forgot Hillary Clinton tried that and she still lost. Yeah. And even Hillary showed up for Sheila Jackson Lee to endorse her. She stomped a little bit for Sheila. Y'all need to get out there. Y'all need to get out there and vote for Sheila. It's like, Hillary, we ain't listening to you either. If you don't already know, we didn't vote for you. Of course, Black people got blamed for that. And Michelle Obama mad at Black people because we didn't vote for Hillary and we allowed Trump to get in. It's like, Black people don't never have no power to do nothing else. But y'all want to blame Black people for allowing Trump to get in the White House? White women actually helped Trump get in the White House. It wasn't Black people. The white women was like, well, we're with her, because that was her slogan. Well, I'm with Hillary. I'm with her. They was with her all the way up until they went to the booth and they got with him. Because at the end of the day, those white women was like, hey, we need to protect what we got going on here, right? I don't know if Hillary necessarily going to do that. And they, been Trumpers ever since. Tanya, how you doing? You say, Facts Not Feelings says, if I was running for office, I would cut an ad saying when you overlook your constituency, they overlook you at the ballot box. Sheila, I'm Facts Not Feelings, and I approve this message. Exactly, right? But again, somebody is so cavalier like Sheila, she's probably like, they gonna vote for me. She got a rude awakening in November during the first election when, she was supposed to have that hands down. This is her stomping ground, right? It's her city. All her homies are, in office and all that. She's supposed to have that in her sleep. But I remember also listening to the radio when she was saying, he's outspending me. I think he said 9-1. Like he's got all this money. It's like he got more money than Sheila. Wow. Because we know Sheila has a lot of money too, raised as far as campaigning, but he's out spending you. So that could have been it too. But I just think people are just sick of it. I think people are just sick of a lot of stuff. And it's like, okay, let's try something else. I'm with it. I don't have a problem with it. I personally couldn't vote for either one of them because I'm not in the city per se. I'm in my own, where I live, it has its own municipality where they have their own city council and mayor and stuff. So I couldn't participate in that. Perry says, Roland only does that to Black people with the name calling and vote shaming. So y'all say he don't do that to white people. He only do that to Black people. And yet I'm amazed that Black people sit up there for that tongue lashing, calling them stupid. But then maybe they're thinking, well, he ain't talking to us. He talking to them. He talking to the Black people who don't listen to him. But even still, Black people that listen to Roland, y'all don't think that he should raise his frequency in the way he talks to you? Do y'all think he goes where white people are in a room full of them and cusses them up one side and down the other? He know better. He ain't gonna do that because he'll do it once to them. But to us, even, I'm sure they co-sign it. Yeah, you go tell them they need to get on board with the Democrats. And if they don't, they're stupid. I mean, Joe Biden pretty much said it too. You don't vote for me, you ain't Black. So that's kind of been the talking points of all the pundits and everybody ever since. They've been running away with it. If you think about the stuff that Roland says, doesn't it kind of sound like if you don't vote for the Democrats, you ain't Black? That's what it sounds like to me. And he should, be ran up out of here. We're talking to black people like that. It's like, enough, man. Come on and tell people why they really should vote for the Democrats. But you know why he won't tell you that? See, I'm gonna tell y'all a rolling spiel. His spiel is to get all historical and get all the data, which that's important, right? It's good to know history. But brother, we live in 2023. What does all that got to do with now? With the neglect of the Democratic Party that he so loves. He won't ever talk about that, but he'll shame black people into voting for more of nothing. Just it's ridiculous. I see y'all call him names. I ain't gonna do that. Sooty Man says, trust me, I want to sometimes. You say, doggone well, he ain't gonna bite the hand that feeds him. When you are bought and paid for, you do whatever they tell you to do. Yeah, is that going out and insulting black people? Because if they're doing that, then we need to know that. We need to know that these people, which I'd imagine are the paymasters in the Democratic Party, and a lot of them are probably white, that they are giving him his marching orders, allegedly, right? Giving him his marching orders to go out there and berate them, tear them down, make them feel like they next to nothing if they don't continue to vote for more of nothing. Crazy. James says Barbra Streisand has a good voice, but unmatched. Nah, she can't touch none of our great female singers. I didn't say that she could, but I'm not gonna argue that Barbra Streisand's voice is, it's it's a pretty good voice. It just is. One of my favorite songs by her is "Good Enough." It's an old song, but her vocals in that song is it's amazing. But I can I ask y'all a question? And this is really out of love. Can we talk about other people like vocalists without saying that's a dig at our people? Come on, man. We got the best singers on earth. I wasn't comparing Barbra Streisand to none of our folks. I'm just saying that she has a great voice. It's unmatched. How about this? It's unmatched by a lot of people. Barbara, I haven't heard her sing lately, but her voice is amazing. Hey Pop, how you doing? And thank you for the donation. Love and appreciate you for that. And Brian, how you doing? It says, forget roly poly. He'd be too busy grandstanding. We're tired of being used for our votes and getting nothing in return. Absolutely. I co-sign that. Poppy says she needs to stop rocking that tired Princess Leia braided hair. Had the hairdo. Well, for her it's probably easier to wear because she's busy. She's a busy girl. I get it. I get putting your hair up in braids or whatever. She's older too, so it's probably her signature look. James, okay, so I read that. And Patricia, how you doing? Says, love that fro. Thank you so much. Can you touch it? Yep. Well, my dad is infamous for doing that. If I wear my afro out, he'll, oh, that looks nice. He's playing his whole hand in there, and it's like, you know how long it took me to do this? But I think about it. All right, so let's see. MC Fact, how you doing? You say, and thank you so much. And teacher says, I just won't be black then because these Dems are done. Yeah, that's the shaming tactics, right? Arneva says, if the DNC don't rob Sanders, you say, oh, I'm sorry, didn't rob Sanders, Bernie Sanders, Trump would have never been president. So it was the Democrats' fault back then, and it will be the Democrats' fault if Trump wins this time around. Yeah, it won't be our fault. And Bernie Sanders, he is normally independent, but he ran as a Democrat. So some people are saying he probably should have stayed an independent, but we know that it's really a two-party system here. It's either the Democrats or Republicans. So I get why he ran as a Democrat, maybe thinking his chances would be better. But either way, yeah, they organized against him. Although he was not for reparations either, although he was on board with reparations for his people. And Perry, you say, white Democrats, James Carville talks that crazy mess to black folks, just like Biden. Yeah, James Carville, he used to be one of the, I think, smarter voices on TV, but now they've all gotten emotional, especially since they see they're losing their most loyal group of voters, and that's us. JBWR says, does Barbra Streisand sing Wind Beneath My Wings? No, that's Bette Midler. Yeah, Bette Midler. And Beach Material says Tina Marie is good too. Yes, she is. Greg, how you doing? You say, I'm not the biggest fan of Charles White. However, when he is not cooning and kissing up to white supremacy with Confederate flag clothing, he does speak a lot of truth about the Black community, a lot of which I've been saying myself when he was still wearing bow ties. Still, he gives out passes excuses to celebrities he likes, especially some of the good-looking females. One of our biggest problems is too many of us are easily impressed, manipulated, and finessed by men who look like their subconscious savior. And then your comment cut off. I agree with that. I know he says that he finds Beyonce to be desirable, and it's like, well, who doesn't, right? Enlightened, you say, as Janet Jackson said in her song, "What have you done for me lately?" That really should be the question that we ask these Democrats when they come knocking on our door. When they give us the "Hey, big head" treatment. "Hey, big head, how you doing? I know we've neglected you for 4 years, but we're back." And we should say, "Great. While you were gone, what have you done for us?" As my mom used to always say, is a good sales tactic. The one who speaks first loses. So you say, "What have you done for me lately?" And don't say another word. Just wait. And they'll probably do a lot of hemming and hawing. Did you make it to the last fish fry? I don't like fish. Did you celebrate Juneteenth? Well, we were already doing that before you made it a federal holiday. What about the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act? That's something we did. Well, it doesn't have any teeth because it only speaks to the federal level. Most Black people that are harmed by police officers will be harmed by state and local police officers, not the FBI or the Border Patrol or the CIA. Okay. What about the Emmett Till anti-lynching law? Well, ain't lynching already a Capital One crime? Yeah. So wasn't it really just symbolism? See what I'm saying? That's the kind of stuff we should have in our arsenal when they come with all that. I hear, occasionally Roland is talking about judges here and judges there. You idiots. Voting, you got to make sure the right judge gets in office and, or on the bench and stuff. Is like, all right, I guess that's true to some degree, but has that helped Black people wholesale? Judges, Ketanji Brown Jackson, she's on the Supreme Court. She's a Black woman. She's the same woman that said, "I don't know what the definition of a woman is." So I don't know. And then we know a lot of times to those judges, they are pro deleting your baby. Is that really good for the Black community? Just asking questions. And did I skip a comment? And James, you say, I heard Roland trash other Black people besides Black people. I totally agree with him, but he's putting a lot of good work for the community. Okay. He might be, but I hear him a lot trying to shame Black people into voting for his homies. And let me ask you this, James, since it sounds like maybe you follow him. Does he talk about the neglect of Black people in Chicago and New York and places like that, where the migrants are, where they're taking resources and funding to help them and not helping Black people? Does he talk about that at all? I'm just curious. And let's see. Arneva says Streisand's voice is proof that God is at the core of all human beings. Yes, she has a wonderful voice, and I'm not gonna hate on her because she's white. She does have a wonderful voice, and I have sang my whole life. I'm a trained singer, believe it or not. Sang in choirs ever since I was in elementary school. Okay, and she was considered the standard. Not the only standard, but when you hear somebody like her voice, a lot of people study her voice. It's I don't know, but again, that's not a dig at our people. We know, hell, Aretha Franklin cannot, and I don't care who comes along, will never be touched by nobody. But I'm just speaking about Barbara Streisand. That's all. Michelle, how you doing? Says, yes, I wear my natural afro. Thanks for sharing. Yes, big ups to all those who wear your natural hair. Listen, I know wearing your natural hair ain't always easy. Trust me. Y'all not going to see my hair like this too much because it does take a lot of work. And plus, it kind of tears your hair out having to break through it all the time. And all that other stuff. So I try to wear it in styles that's a little bit more optimal, so I can save my hair. Uh, it's a blessing to be this age and still have hair. Okay. Buckhorn says, Miss Queen K, my niece and nephew just arrived. They love. He says, yeah, Miss K, 10 and 14. Oh, well, tell the sweet babies I said hello. Did you cook for them? Are they going to eat? uh, and Tico, I hope I said that right. How you doing? He says, hell no, he don't. So you talk about Roland, he don't talk about what's going on in Chicago and New York in regards to the neglect of Black people. I don't know. Like I said, I don't really follow him much. So is he doing that? I don't want to, mistake him if he is. Is he saying how horrible that it is that somebody like Mayor Brandon Johnson got in, talk about, oh, I'm not going to neglect Black people. Oh, yeah, I'm going to look out, make sure everybody gets help, for lack of better words. And then he got in there and shoot. Was the ink dry on his contract before he got the, backpedaling? Does Roland talk about any of that? Does he talk about them at one point in time wanting to use a school on the south side of Chicago that was supposed to be a closed down school, but it's supposed to be used for the youth? And then they talk about opening up for a migrant shelter. Does he talk about that? Does he talk about almost to the tune of $300 million that Chicago has spent helping migrants, but Black people are like, what about us? Does he talk about that? Does he even admonish the Black people there who have said, well, we want to talk to Trump? Does he admonish the Black woman? And quite a few rather said Trump 2024. Does he talk about them? I'm just asking. Does he even give that a conversation? And if he doesn't, why do you think that is? Why do you think he won't do that? Nora says, I have never seen a Black politician that I thought was any good, national or local. Back in the day, there was some. Adam Clayton Powell Jr. is one of them. Of course, that was back in the day. And a few other ones that really did the work for Black people, but now they've gotten so watered down, taking the white envelopes and just really enriching themselves to where, yeah, I can see why you would say that. Dusty Hotep, he says, the only work Roland does in the community is is restaurants with a fork. So you know what? I did see at one point in time, he was calling for a boycott against Grandma's Cookies. They are under the umbrella of PepsiCo. I guess PepsiCo wasn't giving enough money to Black media. And so he said that he eats a lot of Grandma cookies and they should be boycotted, which, really breaks his heart because anybody who knows him knows he loves Grandma cookies. And so they should be boycotted. It's like, are you for real? Cookie boycott? Because they're not giving you, I'm assuming, giving you some money. So people stop eating Grandma cookies. Listen, I'm probably going to get myself in trouble here, but a boycott of Grandma cookies ain't going to hurt him. And that's all I'm going to say about that. MC Fact says, I find it hard to roll with Charleston. I get Stephen Django vibes. Plus he calls Blacks the N-word. I can't rock with people who make ignorant slavery time statements about Blacks. I get it. I totally get it. Facts Not Felon says, did I just hear Demetria say she sing in the kitchen while cooking? Nah, I don't. Yeah, I sing in the kitchen sometimes. He says while wearing her natural afro. God is good, real. Well, I don't. When I'm around the house, I don't have my hair in an afro. It's just a lot. You know what I mean? Like if I'm gonna go somewhere, I'm sitting up, I'll wear it like this. But I might want to lay down, then it'd be flat on one side or matted up in the back or, something like that. But I try to wear my hair like this when it's colder. Because y'all know in Houston, everything is hot, right? And it'll just shrink all the way up. It'll be a mess. So I like to wear it up or something like that. But, I'll let you hold that fantasy one day. One day just for you, I'll be in the kitchen cooking with my afro. Brother Sammy says, great analogy. They back when... It says they back when they want something. I know it was something I said, but Buckhorn says, we gonna eat. We watching you now. 2 TVs, 3 tablets. Okay, wow. Maybe you just need one. Michelle, you say great question. Facts Not Feeling says, most Black politicians today are corrupt officials who will not risk their paycheck for Black people. Nope. because black people aren't going to hold them accountable. They know. I mean, how long has Sheila Jackson Lee even been in Washington? Since the 90s? Hasn't been since the 90s. Somebody like Maxine Waters has been there since what, 92, 93, give or take, somewhere like that. And what has she really done for her community, the black community? She's been in there and she's just been getting money, right? She's taking care of herself. But what about black people? You think about all the other races of politicians, they help their people. They get in there and they make sure they bring home the bacon for their people. And, they're there for their people. I've always said, I don't have a problem with a politician getting money. I don't care if you get in the right envelope, you get that little white envelope, do what you got to do. But be getting it and helping your people too. Don't just get in there and just help yourself and then you get mad because you don't get reelected. It's like you shouldn't be reelected. And why would you want to be reelected anyway? You got all that money. Like, go spend some of it, Buckhorn says, stay on Cole family. We going to win. We always do. You better believe it. Thank you. Facts, not feelings. Yes, it would. Buckhorn be matted all over the place if I'm just laying on it or whatever. When I get off of here, it's going to be amazing when I'm going to do it. I'm going to twist it all up in a whole bunch of twists. It's going to look like a pinhead or something like that when I'm done. Michelle says, sister, you have stood strong and continue to stay strong. We salute you, Demetria K. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I always say, being on here is it's easier. I've been doing it for so long, but the hardest part I think about doing this is not trying to make people upset. I struggled with that for a while, but then I came to the conclusion, well, some people are going to be mad, right? They're going to be upset. It's never my intention to do that. Some people are just going to be that way. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, that I've always said the right thing. I haven't, but I just try to deliver what I know to be true. And of course, you guys correct me all the time if I'm off basis, I'm wrong. Like tonight, y'all said, Charleston White said some things that he should not have said. And I'm not going to argue against that. And as I said, if he is saying those things, that's the kind of stuff he should be put in check for, not because he told a joke and somebody got mad, But with that, people can evoke all these things that he said. Why weren't they just as mad about that? I don't know. I'm assuming maybe those guys heard what he said and maybe they didn't, but not even just those guys. I'm sure a lot of other people heard him say those disparaging things about women and girls, allegedly. Why hasn't he been pressed upon that? Just asking. Travis said, Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney is courageous and honorable. She tried to make a change and the man ended her career. Cynthia McKinney. Refresh my memory. Your name sounds familiar. I know Marilyn Mosby there in Baltimore. She looking at doing some jail time as well. Y'all know she tried to hold the murderers of Freddie Gray accountable, and it's just been all downhill for her. They've leveled fraud charges, real estate fraud, and a whole bunch of stuff against her. So she's looking at doing quite a bit of time in prison, which is sad, because that's what happens when, they try to go against the system. But hopefully, she doesn't go to jail. But I think it's sad. GP, how you doing? He said, just got here because I just finished working out. He says, don't have much time because I have, you look at you going on all these dates. He says, because I have a date to get ready for. Demetria Beauty. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you so much. Don't let your date hear that now. Let us know how it goes. Travis says she was outspoken about the fishnets on September 11th official report. Oh, okay. I guess I have to look more into that. I'm not really familiar with that. Doesn't ring a bell anyway. But yeah, it's just a lot really going on. But at the end of the day, I am glad that we as Black people, we are starting to get on code. We're starting to wake up and say it's now or never. And it's been that way for a long time. It's been now or never for a long time, right? But now we're really starting to say, okay, we don't have a lot of time to waste. We really got to make a big go of it, because if we don't do it now, the time has passed. A lot of people said even, when a George Floyd protest was going on and all of that, that was really our time to capitalize on, the guilt that was going on all over the country. Of course, y'all know BLM raised the bag and got away with it, right? They ran away with all the money and all that other stuff, and we just kind of got complacent because we allowed the usual suspects, black politicians, and during that time says, "Oh, don't worry, we got it. We're gonna go back and we're gonna legislate. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. We're gonna help black people," and they ain't help. They just lied. The most they did was help a black. Okay, they did help a black business. Okay, and then that business probably wasn't even black. They went out and ordered a bunch of kente cloths. Y'all remember that? Kamala and all of them. They wrapped kente cloths around their necks, and then they got on their very geriatric knees and they knelt for, what was it, 9 minutes or whatever. They knelt in Congress. It's like, come on. That's the most that we got out of that. Again, I know they talk about the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. It's a nothing burger. It really is. Qualified immunity has not gone away. We know that was a big ask, right? Get rid of qualified immunity, which would make police officers accountable personally for harming black people instead of putting the city on the hook. If you go after their pensions and all that other stuff, then maybe they'll think twice. But they didn't take that off the table. Officers are still running around this country doing whatever they want to do to black people. Y'all saw the brother in was it Alabama? I think it was Alabama about a week or so ago, where the female officer tased him in his back while he was handcuffed and he was complying. Does she look like she was scared of the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act? She didn't even think twice while she was doing what she did to him. She got off on it. She liked it. She didn't look like she was in fear of losing her job or her pension or anything like that. In fact, she's on, probably paid administrative leave. We know she's on administrative leave, but I'm sure she's getting paid, because they were going to completely try to cover that up. Lied on the brother talking about he was, had fentanyl, and they said, "Oh, well, we tested it. It wasn't, fentanyl after all." And, call him a felon, and he doesn't even have a felon. Just lied on the brother. But they lied like they weren't afraid of no George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, because for one, they know that don't even apply to them. Qualified immunity, they still benefit for that. So, we need to wake up and understand that, these people who are supposed to legislate for us, because that's what a vote is, right? You exchange your vote for something. It's transactional. All right. I give you my vote for something. Now, I probably won't get everything I want, but can I get something? Like black people, we cannot say one thing specifically that we got. We can't. I know your rollers are running around, like his hair is on fire. We didn't get something. The Asian bill is for us as well, because it's technically called the COVID-19 bill, but most of us don't call it that, do we? Because even the politicians weren't calling that. They called the anti-Asian hate crime bill. Somebody like Roland Martin talking about, "Oh, that bill is for everybody." But I impress upon you. Now, y'all know he cussed me out on Twitter and blocked me and all kind of stuff because I called him out. I was like, why is Roland lying? Why doesn't he want you guys to know the truth? Because he knows you guys won't go read it. He knows you won't go see for yourself. And so he can run around lying, talking about the Asian anti-hate bill or whatever it is. It's for y'all too. But if you go read it, you gonna see it don't mention black people. It don't say for everybody else. Most of it, I would say the first 5 paragraphs talk about Asian American Pacific Islander. That's the language that it uses. Asians, right? That's the language that it uses. It doesn't talk about black people, but he knows that y'all won't go read it. So he continues to peddle that lie. Because if they really wanted to protect black people, they would give us our own bill too. They're even talking about something for the Jewish community, getting them a bill, for anti-Semitism and all that. Black people, and this is per FBI statistics, but even if you never read the FBI statistics, black people are the most harmed group of people in this United States, always has been and always will be. And there's no immediate rush to protect us at all. It's business as usual, But imagine if what happened to that brother there in Alabama that got tased in his back happened to another group, somebody else's community. You just saw all the black politicians tweeting about it. They want justice and all the stuff. But when it's our people, it's like, oh, for real? Oh, they don't get all up in the uproar. They don't care about black people. They don't. Because when you care about something or someone, you help them, you do for them, right? You even talk to them. They don't talk to black people, they talk at black people like we are these, just these idiots, like we are just infantile. We don't know any better. And y'all know they've said this for a long time. The biggest threat to one of the biggest threat to America is black unity. Now that was white supremacy saying that, and now you got black, people like your Rollins and all the other ones. They're acting upon that. They don't want black people to unify because when black people unify, then their gravy train dries up. If you do any research, I'm gonna get to you guys' comments. Any research, look up the Big Six. Malcolm X told us about that years ago. He says that Martin Luther King, and of course we talk about it. I always forget the other people names. I think it was Ralph Abernathy, John Lewis, some other people. They went to the John Kennedy administration, and John Kennedy said to them, "Hey, I need y'all to go back to your respective communities or your organizations, SNCC, your churches, whatever it is. Okay, I need you to go back there and make them think, them being black people, that you guys are trying to work on progress. We're trying to get civil rights and really trying to move the ball for black people, but don't let them turn up too much, because back then, as Malcolm X told it, he says black people were talking about doing things like lying on the LaGuardia, what do you call it, the tarmac, if you will, disrupting planes from flying and that kind of stuff, right? Really messing it up for people. So they being the Kennedy administration, white supremacy, the powers that be, they didn't want that. So they said, keep them at bay. The marches are cute. Those are cute, but nothing really too much more than that. And they got paid about, I don't know, anywhere from 1.3, 1.5 million between all of them. Now, back in, I think it was 1963, that's a lot of money. They got paid to keep black people at bay. So moving forward to 2023, y'all don't think that a lot of these black pundits like your Rollins and your Jamel Hill, she one of them too, your Angela Rice, your Joy Reeves, and your Mark Lamont Hills, and all those, y'all don't think they getting a little something? I'm gonna say allegedly. Y'all don't think they getting a little something to keep y'all at bay, keep y'all on the plantation? I would think that they would, that they're getting something. Because if they truly want to help black people, they would help black people. They would tell Sheila Jackson Lee and all these other people, or whoever's paying them, allegedly, I'm not taking no paycheck to lead black people into what? A burning house. Speaking of that, y'all saw what a young sister tried to burn up Martin Luther King's house, childhood house. What's really going on with that? I don't know. But they're not going to want to continue leading black people into a burning house or keeping us there, right? Because we already in a burning house. They're not going to try to keep black people in a burning house. They would help try to deliver us from that. And no amount of money would make them continue selling us more of nothing, but they don't care. They don't care about black people. And their supposed paymasters don't care about us either. But we got to care about ourselves. And that's where the difference is going to be. So let's see here. Okay, so Poppy says, Demetri, does Walter make his candles or does he have them made? I started making candles and have them on our store. He makes his own candles. Yeah, he's got a whole production set up. So yeah, so you started selling them as well. Good deal. Put your information in the chat so people can see where to get some information and stuff from you. That's Not Feeling says, if I ran for office and hired Demetri, I think we could win, but there's a problem. I'm single, masculine. She is single, gorgeous. Okay, feminine. Sparks are going to fly. Media will scandalize us on day one. Let them talk. It's good for publicity. I've worked with men before, and there were no problems at all. None. I've worked with Donovan. He was running for office twice. No problems. I had another gentleman who was running for office. No problems. He said I was cute every once in a while, but I'll say, oh, really? Back to work. I know how to keep a professional. Buckhorse says, this is the last ride, y'all. It's about our children now. Yep. And our children's children. Perry says Biden gave the police even more funding. Right. And Obama did too. Then Obama, he even made the blue alert policy to alert police officers when there's somebody's out there trying to harm them. They alert them. Well, what about the black alert? Do we get an alert when they trying to harm us? No, and that was under the Obama administration. I bet you Roland ain't gonna tell y'all about that. I bet you he won't. Mike, you say nothing. Yep, we get nothing. And teacher says, so do Obama? Yeah, there you go. I should have read that, the blue alert. Thank you, L. Maxwell. Love and appreciate you for that. Deuce D, how you doing? He says, we will never receive a hate crime bill. They will not self-incriminate as they are all guilty of it. And that's a good point. Right. That is a good point. And plus, it's hate of black people going on all day long. It'll be people, the jails will be busting at seams with people getting in trouble for the hate crime bill against black people, right? So you make a good point. Sudaban says, isn't that the truth? And Marie, he says, glad Jackson Lee lost. Yeah, a lot of people are. And I think that's got to hurt for her, really to realize she ain't all that. Oh, Sheila. Remember Ready for the World? Oh, Sheila. This should be her her theme song. Norris, you say Cynthia McKinney from Georgia, who slapped the Capitol policeman who tried to stop her from entering. Oh, the Capitol forgot about her. She was on it. Forgot she was my congresswoman. I wasn't voting. So is she in jail? Wow. And Rodney, how you doing? He says, good evening, Queen D. And Black First near north side of Chicago, Chi-Town. Welcome anyway. And MC Fact says, Sheila Jackson Lee. What a joke. Yeah, last night I know she was like, you got to be kidding me. Of course, y'all heard that infamous recording of her cussing out one of her staffers. I thought it was funny because sometimes, people need to be cussed out. I don't know if what she did warranted that, but it was somebody secretly recorded it. So I'm sure she probably cusses people out all the time. It's like, that wouldn't have deterred me from voting for her. Would have deterred me is, her neglect of the black community. Cussing people out, come on now. We hear and see people get cussed out all day long in our community, and it's funny. And to me, that was funny. Because, a lot of times you see these politicians, they're all buttoned up and polished, and they're saying the right things, but she let those F-bombs fly. And I was like, yeah, I'm just playing. Nora says, so many traitors, so many Stevens. Yes, indeed. Jay, if I didn't already, how you doing? Says Dimitri, you are right. They don't care about Black American people. They don't. They're like, do you think a fish fry means I care about you? Getting a bus full of strippers to twerk, does that say they care about you? I don't think so. You care about something, you make sure their well-being is taken care of. You don't just neglect them and give them stupid stuff. Strippers are stupid. We don't need not another stripper in our community. And as I said, we don't need no fish fries. How about some baked fish? I'm just kidding. Buckhorse says, I don't have a problem working with my people, me either. And Enlightened says, the Black politicians don't care about us because there are no consequences for their betrayal. Nope. We just keep voting right in, right? The name, well, she Black, he Black. I'm not voting for no white people. And I get it. White people, they don't love us either. But some of those politicians, they might do a better job. I mean, I know I would appreciate at the very least driving down a smooth street. It's expensive to have your car repaired by hitting a pothole the wrong way. And not only just once, but 13,000 times throughout the day. Some of those roads, you actually got to drive real slow, try to miss the potholes and all that. It's just a lot, and potholes are just really kind of the bare minimum of things. What about the funding to the neighborhoods? All of that, the gentrification that they allow to go on in some of those Black neighborhoods that are historic. The city council, city planning committee, they have direct control over what happens in those neighborhoods, and they just allow it to go on. They don't care about the historical context of those Black communities. They just, y'all want to build something there, go ahead and displace Black people. Because if you really cared about Black people, like, no, go build that over there. No, we don't need to reopen up the waste plant because there's, I can't remember which community. I think it's Jersey Village. where they have a waste plant that they were supposed to keep closed. But they're going to reopen it. They're going to reopen it. And it's supposed to be like cancer clusters and stuff. And it's a predominantly Black neighborhood. So you're going to reopen the plant where Black people live for what? That don't say you care about Black people. But if the council person cared, they say, okay, let's move it over there to the white people's neighborhood. They got a lot of clean space over there. We're already contaminating Black people enough. They won't do that. They only do that to Black people. So I don't know. Maybe the white guy will get in there and he'll actually do something. It really remains to be seen. We'll see. Teacher says, if she can't win a mayoral election, how does she win a House seat? Who's voting for her? That's why I said I think it's going to be very telling for her. I think this is really an eye-opening event for her. I think she's going to have to get in there because I don't know when the re-election is for her. I'm assuming next year for the congressional seat. She's going to have to get in there and really do something because I think this is just part of the tea leaves that she's got to read. Well, they didn't want me for mayor. Will they want me for the congresswoman again? Probably not. I would think anybody that's thinking about running against her, this is honestly their race to lose. I would think if they get in there and run against her, I don't see, if they're good people and they, got a good track record and all that, I don't see why they wouldn't win against Sheila. Because I think this is very telling. The people don't want her. She didn't lose by a couple of percentage. She lost by almost half. That's a lot. And Bucker says 500 years in bondage, they tripping. Yep. Teacher says New York City potholes took my whole front end out. I had to file a collision claim to get it fixed. Yeah. And a lot of these cities, they don't want to fix your car. Well, they give you all these runarounds. It's not technically us. It's this, it's that. And then you got to talk to your insurance company to get your car fixed. But there's potholes like that here. Will take your whole car out. It's crazy. So hopefully they fix it. And Aisha, you say, that's my, wait, I know I said your name wrong. Let me see. I always try to say, Miss Wilson, how about that? You say, that's my community. I'm doing well. How about yourself? You say, we are in court now about that landfill in Carverdale. See, there you go. There you go. That's the neighborhood I was talking about, where the cancer cluster is. So at the time, I know that people in the community were trying to get them not to reopen it. Did they reopen it, or is it still in the legal process of trying to see what's going to go on with it? But yeah, they said a lot of people in that community have gotten cancer, and the landfill is very toxic. They had made an agreement against the company that owns it that they were never going to open it up again. But then they said, aha, we lied, like we lie about everything else, right? And so, okay, so good. You say it's still in legal process. Well, hopefully you guys win and they don't open that up, because that's horrible. I can't remember where I was the other day, but it was in one of our neighborhoods, and it was just, oh my God, it was just the worst. It was just dirt and mud everywhere. It's just garbage and potholes. The houses dilapidated. It's like literally just neglected. It seemed like forever. It doesn't seem like anything was ever done to those neighborhoods since they were first built, whenever that was, right? And they really don't care about Black people. They just really don't. Dusty Hotep says, shout out to Donovan, probably in the DR. Yes, that's what he is. DR, I'm heading to Thailand later this month. I can't wait. Well, you do enjoy yourself. Be careful. Yeah, but that's what Donovan is. He is in the DR. I haven't heard from him since this morning, so hopefully he's okay. I'm sure he's tied up, probably literally. I'm just playing. I don't know. Abdullah, how you doing? Long time no see you. Thank you. Okay, and then Miss Wilson said, yes, the older generation passed from that. Yeah, that's what I heard. A lot of people are dying from the cancer clusters there. And then it said it also smells really bad. Yeah, one of the communities I went in, and I'm still trying to get familiar with the neighborhoods, it smelled awful. Like a sewer was just wide open. And I'm like, how does anybody live here? Because I'm from California. There's a place called Chino, and they have a lot of the dairy farms out there, and they smell horrible. And do you know they got like $1 million homes, in those areas? I'm like, how y'all live out here? Because it smells like cow stuff, all the time. I guess maybe they're used to it. It smells like spoiled milk and all of that. But the smell that I smell in the neighborhoods that I went in the other day out here, worse than that. And I don't know. And the thing that comes to my mind is these politicians ain't been over here. Because how do you go into those neighborhoods and not have any sympathy or like, damn, I have the power to do something and I'm not? How do you do that? It actually makes me really sad, when I go over there and I see our people living that way. Now I know some of it is probably self-inflicted, but you could tell that the city council people, mayor, whoever else has any, I mean, hell, let's talk about the churches. There's a big giant church. It's called Wheeler Baptist Avenue or something like that. Church, Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church, something like that. It is giant. It is like a city of its own. It's pristine, but it's in the hood. And often when I'm in those neighborhoods, the churches are the nicest buildings in the neighborhood. The nicest building. And a lot of those people that are going to church there, they live in those neighborhoods. So they spend, 19 hours in church, because if you go to church on Sunday, that's how long you're in there. Spend 19 hours in church where it's beautiful and all of that. And then you leave and then you go to your neighborhood. It's not that good. Maybe your house needs some work or whatever. So I don't understand that either. You go to a church that's getting all the money from the community, but they don't appear to be putting the money back into the community. They're just not. So it's not just the city council. It's those churches, that suck up the resource out of the community as well. Like somewhere in Chicago, the pastor's talking about get behind Mayor Johnson. Black people need to get behind him and what he's trying to do with the migrants. It's like, yeah, all right, then stop donating money to the church. And I bet he'll shut up. Then if you say, okay, well, since you don't care about us, pastor so-and-so, we're going to take our tithes and offering out your church. I guarantee you he'll start singing a different tune. But it's crazy. And Ms. Wilson, you say they are trying to put a batch plant across from LBJ Hospital on 610. So what is a batch plant? Is that like more waste and stuff like that? Rodney, no, I'm not in Cali. I'm in Houston for right now. Oh, but I do a lot of California dreaming. You can believe that. And Ms. Wilson say city doesn't care. They have their own agenda. Yeah. Eventually they want to gentrify those neighborhoods, tear them all down. They can build, because of course, I know, but going to those neighborhoods, you see houses, they call them, I guess, row houses is what they are. And some of those probably been there since the 40s and 50s and probably sooner than that. They're just like damn near dilapidated. But then next door to it, you see a nice, brand new house that some of them go for like $300,000-$400,000. And you're like, in this neighborhood? But you can see the writing on the wall. They're trying to gentrify it so that they can get all the Black people out and take back, because because I've seen too white people in there, they're walking their dogs, or they're just kind of in the neighborhood. It's like, well, you just seem out of place here in this neighborhood. It's odd that you're here. But then of course, why they're there, because they know eventually won't be no Black people there. It's going to be all of them up in there, and they'll beautify the neighborhood and all of that. So he says a concrete plant. And Maxwell, you say it's the same way in third world countries. Sometimes the church is the only built structure. Yeah, you're exactly right. The church in the Black neighborhoods is the best looking building there. Just is. It's the best looking building there. And there's a lot of churches in the Black neighborhoods. I'm like, damn, is this many people living here to even go to these churches? But I guess applied knowledge. How you doing? Beverly White, what's going on with you? Says that's happening in Louisville, Kentucky as well. Nora says we complain about Black businesses that don't give good service and quit patronizing them, but keep voting for Black politicians who don't give us any service. Can I tell y'all a story before I get out of here? So yesterday, I had company in from out of town, okay? And we went to, I like to go to Black-owned restaurants, when I go out. I won't tell y'all the name of this restaurant. But we went to this Black-owned restaurant, and their specialty is Kool-Aid, okay? So somebody wanted to order some Kool-Aid. They say, yeah, get some Kool-Aid. They're like, we out of Kool-Aid. How you out of Kool-Aid? Every store on the planet sells Kool-Aid packets. They were out of Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid is the stuff in the packet, sugar and water. I'm like, y'all ain't even got the red flavor. Y'all know the red flavor. Y'all ain't got the red flavor. But I didn't say nothing. But I'm like, damn. And they have some other issues as well. But, you know, just kind of talking about black businesses, like at the very least, you ain't got Kool-Aid. That's problematic. So I don't know, maybe they'll get it together. But yeah, we try to support black businesses, and I'm not saying all black businesses, but a lot of them. They really need to get their stuff together. Damon, how you doing? It says late to the show. Shalom, Black First Family. Miss K, thank you so much for the compliment on my hair. And Trinity Love, how you doing? It says mostly always Caucasian people who tend to the neighborhood, who are usually African Americans. Oh, I'm sorry, ignore. Gotcha. Ignore their neighbors. Oh yeah, they're not trying to get along with black people. They just waiting black people out, right? As soon as they get gentrified out of there, then they're gonna bring more of their homies in and rename the neighborhood something, right? Like Fort Mayonnaise or something. Tisha says, like here in New York, the rent is so high that they're running black and brown folks out of the city. $8,000 for a 2-bedroom in Brooklyn Park Slope section. Ridiculous. Huh? $8,000 for 2-bedroom? What's in it? What's in the apartment? Is there a maid, a butler, dry cleaning, a car a Tesla? Does that come with the apartment? That's outrageous. You need like 13 people to live there with you to pay the mortgage. James, how you doing? Says they out of Kool-Aid. Yeah, they was out of Kool-Aid. I kid you not. I was like, that's odd. I don't care how poor we've ever been. We ain't never been out of no Kool-Aid. Matter of fact, we might have been out of sugar, but we ain't never been out of no. I'll read the comment. No Kool-Aid packets. Never. The Kool-Aid might have even been a little bit on the twangy side because it wasn't enough sugar. But you out of Kool-Aid? Like who's doing the inventory? Because Kool-Aid is a quick trip to Kroger, Walmart, Dollar Tree. The night before, you could have got on Amazon, and Amazon sells Kool-Aid packets. You could get like 130 of them for $50, $60. I look, because I was like, okay, I'm just trying to help these people out, but it's like their specialty. They have all these exotic mixtures of Kool-Aid, all this other stuff, and people like to try it, out of the little mason jars and stuff. Out of Kool-Aid. I said, well, I'll be. Hey, Hula Gang, how you doing? And Michael, how are you? JBWR says golden toilet something. You got golden toilets in there? Golden toilet paper? Something. Only Pamela's way, how you doing? Yeah, Fort Mayonnaise. In fact, my feeling says the pastor was in the camp of the Democrats, totally ignoring his Bible that says render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar and unto God the things that are God. Stay out of supporting government party. Yeah, they not supposed to, but they do it because we're gonna hold them accountable. And Rahim, I hope I said that right. How you doing? And Tisha, you say, I heard in divorce the case I was reporting, nothing comes with it. Regular, basic NYC apartment. So what's the person trying to get some alimony? My rent is $8,000 a month. I'm gonna need $30,000 a month to even just think about living there. I mean, I'm sure that's probably what, but 8,000. That should be what. Tisha, what happened to the brother that was representing the rent is too damn high party? You know the guy I'm talking about? He wore the gloves and he had the white mutton chops, and he looked like he could have been Frederick Douglass's brother or great grandson or something. I don't know. He was representing the rent is too damn high party. He need to get back in there and win this time. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. I love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here, having this discussion. I don't know if we ever answered the question, who can hold us accountable, but maybe I'll try to. I say first we hold ourselves accountable personally, and then be open to ideas and taking in new knowledge, right? We're not always right. There's always somebody who's going to know more than us. And the other thing too is we need to be able to take criticism. I'll be honest with y'all. My mom used to always say, you never like nobody criticizing you. You can't take criticism. And she was right. I hate it. I hate it to this day. Although I'm a little bit more evolved in my thinking, like, okay. Because ordinarily on any given day, I think I'm perfect. Like, I don't make mistakes, right? I know everything. I'm kidding, of course. But we all kind of think that. Don't tell me what to do. Then we get mad about it. Then we don't learn, right? But we got to get to a point to where we can take criticism, especially if it's constructive. Now, if it's the criticism like, you ain't shit, you ain't, all right, you might want to ignore that. But if somebody says, well, what you're doing is not bad. However, you probably should be doing it this way to get better results. Or maybe you shouldn't be acting like that. Ladies don't behave like that. Ladies ain't bending it over, busting it wide and twerking in the middle of restaurants. That's constructive criticism because it's right. You can do that at home in the confines of your home with your man and your mirror, whatever, but everybody don't want to see that, right? Or whatever it is, it's constructive criticism. We need to listen to it and say, well, are they right? So that's how we take, we actually take accountability and listen to what everybody else is saying, because we're not always right. And how do you grow if you can't take criticism? How do you grow if you can't take in new information? How do you learn? You just stay stuck. Have y'all ever known people, and we all do, somebody who you can't say nothing to them? They can't take criticism. They can't learn new ideas. As I always say to people, don't be that old dog. Y'all remember they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Well, there's a lot of people who are that old dog. They will never, ever learn new tricks. They don't want to learn how to eat nothing new. All they want to do is, Walter say, they chicken nugget people, right? I'm not dating no chicken nugget chicks. And that's a chick that can't evolve, right? Go to the restaurant and there's all these wonderful things to eat on the menu. And I'm take chicken nuggets and some French fries. Heifer, I just brought you to Morton's. I don't even know if they sell chicken nuggets. Or Ruth Chris, Steak 48. And you sitting up here getting some chicken nuggets? What are you, 3? And it just really kind of speaks to, I get if you like chicken nuggets, but you get dressed up and eat chicken nuggets, or can you just heat them up in your microwave at home, But there's some people who will never learn new tricks. They don't want to. I don't care how old they get. Hey, you know what? You might want to eat some vegetables outside of tomatoes and lettuce. I don't like vegetables. They nasty. Like, well, have you looked in the mirror lately? Your face and your skin look devoid of life. You don't look like you've ever eaten anything that was alive, that wasn't fried and died and laid to the side. You might benefit from some vegetables. They don't want to hear that. Well, nah, I'm good. My mama and them lived till they was 100 and all they ate was French fries and chicken nuggets. It's like, well, they might have lived to be 120 if they would have ate some vegetables. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying we don't keep trying with those people, but I think we need to spend more time, and this is relationship wise too, okay? Y'all bear with me for just a minute, okay? A lot of times we spend a lot of valuable time in relationships with people, whether it's romantic or whatever kind of relationship it is, that's never going to evolve. That's never going to go anywhere because somebody, and maybe sometimes both people, are just stuck. I often think I think they're the Zaxes on Dr. Seuss, right? Dr. Seuss, y'all remember the Zaxes? I think that's what they were called. One was going this way and the other one was going that way, and they got in each other's way. And one was like, I'm not gonna move. And the other was like, I'm not moving either. And so what happened is time went on without them. They built freeways and cities and all kind of stuff, just evolved, but they never did. They were stuck. They never moved. And so we are sometimes in relationships with people like that. They refuse to move. They refuse to move mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. They are stuck in their ways. Now, for me, because I'm always evolving, right? I never want to be in a relationship of no kind with anybody who are just stuck in their ways. Now, I get it. Some people are just older or whatever, and they've been there, done that. I'm doing me. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. But if you're talking about evolving, because we should, like I always say too, I'm going to evolve until I die. until my daughter rolls me off the side of a mountain, because that's what she says she's going to do with my body, right? Roll me off the side of a mountain. I'm going to be evolving. I always want to grow. I always want to learn. I want to elevate and all that other stuff. But I'm telling y'all right now, it is not worth staying stuck in relationships of no kind, even whether it's a work relationship, a job, whatever it is. If those things aren't evolving, then you got to let it go. You got to cut it loose. Because if you don't cut it loose, it's going to drain you of everything you got. Nothing is worse than being in a sedentary relationship with somebody, and that somebody might even be you, right? If you're holding somebody back, you're that person in that relationship, and you don't want to grow, ask yourself why. And then ask yourself, is it fair for me to insist on being in a relationship with somebody who does not want to grow or change? Or who wants me to do that? Is it fair for me to stay in that relationship holding them back? The answer is no, it's not fair. Then try your best to change or let them go. I mean, I don't know. So let's see here. Thunder, where you been? You late. I'm about to get up out of here. Sound, man, how you doing? Long time no see. He says, bless Mama. You said, just think about you and how I don't see your show. Please don't stop. Brooklyn rate you, Mama. I'm here every Sunday. I don't know. Darnell, how you doing? Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Shirley, how you doing? Says, hey, Sister Demetri K. Love your videos without the black you'll bring. Oh, Lord. Says, I'm retired military veteran, and he just hits me the wrong way. Sorry, but I'm just saying I could listen to you all day, though. Oh, I appreciate that. Y'all know Donovan is my road dog. Donovan is just out there in the DR right now having a good time. But guess what? He'll be back. But Shirley, come on back for me. If you don't come back for nothing else, come on back for me. But we have really kind of tried to design the show a little bit more so y'all don't hear us argue as much and things like that. So hopefully I'm going to be a better product moving forward. David, how you doing? He says, I blew out my tire hitting a pole in the Fifth Ward. Yeah, see, I mean, a hole in the Fifth Ward. Yeah, that's no good. So we need people in there who is going to do something about that. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. And I love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Y'all be safe out there. And Donovan and I think we'll be back on Tuesday. If not, it'll just be me until he gets back home, because sometimes his internet doesn't work all that well. And of course, if you guys you see ways to help the channel, I love and appreciate you for that. I have Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo. You can do a super chat, stars, or wherever you are. At the very least, please like and subscribe to the channel. In the meantime, also don't forget to go to africandiasporanews.org and get the app, y'all, because the more we get of y'all over there, the less time we have to spend over here. So in the meantime, you all be blessed. Hey, John, how you doing? See y'all later. Peace.